Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Indieheads podcast. I am your host, Matty, aka Recon AG. On this week's podcast, we have...
I'm Alex, also known as Nerd.
I'm Jake, known as Lieutenant Nerd First Class, apparently.
I'm William, the kind helmsman.
I'm AJ, and this is going to be the podcast that saves you.
Wait, what?
Oh,
the
God.
podcast that saved you? What?
We're
It's a
already
reference-
off to a bad start.
It's
with
a, it's a
Wonderwall
reference to a song we're going to talk about.
Oh,
later.
God. Okay, we'll get into the main topic a bit later. But first, before we get into like actual music discussion, I do want to get some quick podcast news out of the way, just because I don't feel like putting it at the end. I feel like we should just again, stuff about the podcast is more important than what we talk about on the podcast. Okay, but this is gonna be really quick. First things first, FYC. You guys are wondering if it's coming out tomorrow. I imagine like one or two of you are, but like most people aren't. It's not coming out tomorrow or on Tuesday. This is going up Tuesday, but or just later, like really late Monday. But FYC
What's
for
it on?
FYC, I'll explain. I'll tell that later. But FYC,
Okay.
it's getting pushed back to May now, as I'm really busy right now with school and like working on my 5-minute shows for radio. Which actually, we put up the first one today, "How to Survive in the Music Industry." The first episode of that is up on the podcast channel right now, so please go listen to that. We did it with Todd Hyman of Car Park Records. Great guy. We've had him on the podcast before. He's really cool. But yeah, I'm busy with college stuff right now, and I don't have time to work on FYC, and I don't really have the inspiration to either because I'm so busy working on this radio stuff right now. Like it's starting to kind of consume my life a little bit, and I kind of want to focus on that. But the next FYC, whenever it does come back in May, if I'm doing it, is... See, I'm conflicted, but I think...
my God, Matty, taking forever
I know-
with the news.
I know, I'm sorry, but I think it's going to be over Jai Paul now. Jai Paul's leaked self-titled album is what my gut's saying right now. And speaking of Jai Paul, let's launch it to the news.
Paul.
Is it Jai Paul? How do you pronounce it?
It's Jay.
Oh, it's Jay. Oh shit.
Yeah.
I thought it was Jai too, so don't.
Anyways,
I've never heard it.
It's okay.
Speaking-
AJ
speaking-
and I will also be doing an FYC at some point.
Oh yeah,
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
As soon as we kind of ground it a bit more. Anyways, let's get into the news. As speaking of Jay Paul, the brothers Paul, aka Jay Paul, and his brother AK Paul launched the Paul Institute, and this it's again as the headline says, it's this bizarre late '90s esque website. And from what-
Headline. You mean my meaningless drivel?
Oh yes, exactly. And through this and through this sort of website, AK Paul launched debuted his debut single Land Cruisin', and oh boy, it's good. It's good. It's real good, guys. It's. I mean, Jay. Okay, I will talk about the Paul. Does anyone want to talk about this before I go into like a mindless drivel?
I
Okay.
don't care.
I thought the song was good, but it didn't like blow me away enough, and I worry that people are just gonna be like, "Oh yeah, that's Jay Paul's brother," you know? Like,
However, you
also
wait,
though,
you-
I do feel like the single was separate enough from his work that it's like it doesn't feel like, I don't know, it's like he's like aping his brother, or like, I don't know, it feels more like they came from the same scene
Mhm.
type of thing.
Yeah, I mean,
I know.
I think they
AK
show
worked with.
Oh, well, okay.
I mean, AK Paul already worked with Neo, one of my favorite new singers, and apparently they just took a photo together. They're in the studio right now, so he's still busy at work.
And
Just
I mean,
want to
AK
throw that out there.
Oh yeah, I need to listen to that song. I think I listened to it like once, but I've like forgotten about it. But yeah, this new single's great. I think I know you and Will. Well, who again? I'm not who. I know Alex and Will. I gave them J Paul's leaked album, and I know you guys have been digging it. You guys have been digging it, right?
Indeed.
So
yeah.
hold on a sec. I want to hop
Okay.
in real quick here.
Go ahead,
I haven't
AJ.
listened to it, but it's like a leaked album. It was
Okay.
like, I thought it's like demos and stuff.
Okay, I will.
It is.
I will explain. I will
Sort of.
explain.
It's
I'm
kind of like Smile, right?
kind of. Okay. As the certified J Paul expert here, I will try my best to explain. So okay, so back in like.
We didn't know how to spell his name, so.
Will you shut
Yeah.
up, okay? I know I may not know how to pronounce his name, but I know the info, okay?
He knows the.
Watch-
He knows
I've been
the music,
following
not the-
this for years, okay?
Watch Watch me turn out to be wrong, and I just look like an idiot.
Maybe.
I believe Alex.
Paul.
It's okay. Anyways, but essentially, J. Paul, he debuted like in like 20. I want to say 2010 or 2011 with this single called BTSU, and it's like fucking amazing. And then like
Yeah.
the next year, he like has Jasmine, which is a demo. By the way, again on the song it says it's a demo, and it's like, what the fuck? How is this a demo? This is like incredible.
Yeah.
And then in like April 2013 on Bandcamp, his again supposedly his album, he released his album like surprise release, just like out of the blue, but it ended up being a fake. And from what I can tell from like various rumors I've heard, it's that he got his laptop stolen, and then the demos got leaked, and some guy tried to saying it was him, like, oh, like I'm Jai Paul, but that never happened. But yeah, it was leaked on Bandcamp for like 24 hours before it got taken down by XL and like J. Paul, and then J. Paul had to make a Twitter account to say like, yeah, those demos, I didn't put that out. That's not me. I will have like new music soon. What actually did he tweet real quick? I can do a quick search. But yeah, that entire situation is really interesting because it's so weird that we live in like this modern age, where a guy can like he only has 2 singles, like he only has 2 songs, like officially released stuff, 2 songs, that's it. But yet like everyone like fucking loves him and thinks he's like this incredible artist, and it's like it's like something that can only really happen in the internet era, where someone can only release 2 songs officially, yet there's all this mystery about him, and just like people like they care about him still. And usually you release your 2 great songs, you don't drop anything out there, most people forget about you. But because like there's all this interesting stuff that still happens with the Paul brothers, and especially with this new website, it's still really, really interesting to see like how people still care about this guy. And I mean, I care about him too. And it's just kind of cool. And also the music's great. Like BTSU and Jasmine are some of the greatest pop songs like of the last decade, or maybe of the last like 20 years. They're incredible. And the leaked album is one of the best pop albums of the past decade. And it's demos. That's what it is. It's demos. It's leaked demos, essentially put in a random order, and yet it's sequenced better, and the songs are better than like most pop albums out there. And that's crazy to me. And that just shows how talented he is and how great he is. That like a leaked set of demos is like better than a lot of stuff out there right now. So yeah.
One thing that's really special about that album to me is like, or something that I've been noticing listening to it in the past week or so, is kind of like how he uses silence. Like, silence is an important feature of these songs, because rather than like having like an 808 or something on every 4th beat, like J. Paul just has it drop out, sort of like kind of fizzes out, and there's this like pulsating kind of nothingness to some of his songs. And it's not, that sounds bad, I feel like I'm not selling it right, but it's
No,
just
I mean, you're doing a
actually
great job. I mean,
It's-
silence is a very important part of the
incredibly
the
fascinating.
The way he
and things
uses-
that shows maturity, musical maturity,
Yeah.
is knowing when to show restraint.
It's fascinating because he uses the silence almost like percussion. Like it's an intricate part of the beat. Like, and I also think that's cool because that's not something you see often in like pop music or EDM. Like usually they kind of, I don't know. The songs are very full. They're very produced. This is like deliberately minimal almost. I wouldn't call his music minimal
No,
though.
he uses sonics in a very interesting way. I think I saw a comment where like the way he uses instruments and the way like he uses channels and how he brings stuff in and brings stuff out is really interesting to see. And there's like, and I think that's why like the stuff that gets released is like demos or just stuff that's not finished, because like they sound minimalist, but when you really like get into it, you realize, oh my god, there's like so much happening right now. Like,
They're
he's
very
constantly
heavily
tweaking-
textured.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like, some of the best textures I've heard in pop music in a very long time.
for sure. It's just, again, it blows my mind that like, and it makes sense, like, considering because apparently he's like a huge perfectionist too, and that's why like he barely has any music out, because like you can tell by like listening to the stuff he's released that like he's still tweaking stuff. Like he want like it's sort of in some ways it kind of predates, in my opinion, a little bit like the life of Pablo, I guess. But Life of Pablo literally was like, hey, why don't I just tweet the stuff like literally while it's out? While Jai Paul is
I
more
think-
of just like he's stuck in like a traditional view where it's like, okay, I'm not
Yeah.
done tweaking with this, but I'm gonna put it out as it is right now. But I'm still messing with this because I think
Has
that's.
he?
What we're gonna ask Jake?
I was just gonna say, has he actually said anything or hinted towards anything about releasing the album since
No.
the demos were leaked, or is he just like, oh, don't worry, I'll release
It's just
stuff?
been hearsay from other people saying that he's working on his album, and there's been just
Yeah.
like there's a picture of him like last year in the studio with like AK Paul and Miguel. And I think AK Paul like produced a song on Miguel's album too. So it's really interesting. He's just like a really interesting guy, and I really can't wait to like start researching him for FYC because, but also I feel like I kind of don't want to because the thing that's also really great about J. Paul is is the mystery behind him.
Yeah, like in a lot of ways, I actually think J. Paul is more mysterious than Death Grips, which is kind of
Much
a weird
more.
statement considering
That's for sure. Like I
Yeah.
full on agree with that.
like Death Grips, you find things out. You know, people either because the fans are completely obsessive, or the band does occasionally reveal things about themselves. J. Paul, there's just this constant media silence. He doesn't do interviews. He doesn't really do anything that is open for public consumption.
Mm-hmm. It's just there's a lot of speculation behind him, and I'm really excited for his album if it ever comes out. But like I'm hoping with this Paul Institute stuff that's like
Yeah,
I hope it's a venue for both the brothers to like start releasing stuff because like I mean again I really like the AK Paul single, but I can definitely tell that AK Paul is not as much of a perfectionist as Jay, or at least he's not as like so obsessive over his music. I can tell that from the new song, and I can just from like sonically and just like from essentially who he works with. Because J. Paul is like, very secretive and like rarely works with anyone. He's like he's a fucking recluse.
One thing I would say about Land Cruisin' compared to like the demos from the album is that it's a lot less colorful. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I can see that. It's not as textured. It's definitely like it's really 80s pop inspired. Like I get those vibes out of that song. And it's a really great. I mean, Land Cruisin'. I need to listen to it more because it's a really great pop track. But essentially, I think we're kind of going on too long with this subject. But I think the single's great. I'm really excited to see what AK does. I'm really hoping that like J. Paul releases some music soon through like this Paul Institute shit. I mean, I gave him my goddamn phone number. Okay, I better get some music out of this. Okay, we're starving, man. It's been 3 years since we got new material from him. And if we're counting like official songs, 4 years. 4 years now. What? I'm hoping he releases something like.
It's amazing that he's as well known as he is.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
It's just a test. It's just sort of he's definitely a big example of an artist that like could only exist in the internet age. Like this guy couldn't exist in the 70s or the 80s or 90s. Like he had to exist like right now. So yeah, we should probably get to the next piece of news. It's going to be a lot shorter. You want to do this one, Alex?
LCD Soundsystem has played their first reunion show.
Literally who?
The news about this, to me, or the takeaway, other than that, like, they put on a good performance, or supposedly, and people are all like, this is sincere. The takeaway for me is, that they didn't, really the only thing. They didn't play any new songs.
That's for me, yeah. That's the biggest takeaway.
An album coming along. You'd think, even if they weren't finished with everything, you'd think that they'd at least have one song that they'd be debuting live that they just kind of want to show or test on fans, but they didn't do anything. Also, something I thought was interesting was they played Dance Yourself Clean in the encore, and James Murphy said that they would never have played it otherwise if the crowd hadn't been so enthusiastic. So, just from the perspective of someone who's going to try to see them on this tour, it's probably, I don't know. Don't expect Dance Yourself Clean, I would imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a hard song to play live or something, maybe?
I don't know.
Maybe it just means a lot to Jane. Maybe he just has a hard time.
Maybe they just don't want to play it.
Yeah.
I mean, out of all the songs they have in their catalog, though, that's kind of
It's the biggest one for sure.
But I mean, like,
Well,
it's not the most like
are you saying
emotionally.
the biggest song or like? I mean, biggest song. That's kind of debatable. I'd say. I feel
North
like
American
that's-
Scum was pretty big too.
it's a toss up
No,
between like
it's
all my
All My
friends or New York
Friends.
I'm loving you or New York or
Well,
No, the biggest ones are Someone Great and.
no, I'm talking about like most popular. Like
No, that's what I'm
everyone
saying.
I know has heard "Dance Yourself Clean," but
No,
I don't
Okay,
someone,
really know.
Someone Great and All My
So,
Friends, I
Silver.
think, are more.
okay. Anyways,
Let's hear
yeah,
some.
North American Scum's like they're big, like, it's almost a radio song, I would say. Like, casual music listeners are more likely to know North American Scum than anything else they have.
they probably recognize it from like maybe like because for some reason the first time I heard it, like I swear to God, it was
It's in like movie trailers
yeah,
and shit.
it was
Yeah.
in some movie trailer. I can't remember, but also another thing with that's funny about this LC sound system thing. Someone commented, so back when it was announced that they were reuniting, like Consequence of Sound reported it. Everyone was like, they're bullshitting. This is not real. They're just trying to get clicks. And I posted the article that was no, LC Sound System is not reuniting. And the top comment was a comment that I made saying, "Go fuck yourself, COS." And I would like to publicly apologize for my comment and refute it and say,
We're sorry, Alex. We love you.
We're sorry, Alex. You were right. Okay, we didn't believe you, but you were right. I still think you shouldn't have reported on it. I think the band wanted to make an announcement themselves about it instead of like you guys being predatory. But you weren't wrong. Okay, you were right, and I apologize. And also we're gonna like shit on you a bit later in this episode because you're involved in our main topic. But
Sorry.
does anyone have anything to say about this reunion show?
Yeah, we were talking about this earlier today, and I don't know what this means for the new album, but to me it kind of shows that if it's happening, it's far away, in my opinion.
It's
Mhm.
probably. I don't know if it's far away. I believe that they're going to deliver this year, but I would see it coming fourth quarter.
He said something
Yeah,
about it in
I
his
guess-
Facebook post. I can't remember if he said he was working on it or if it's like almost
he said
done.
he said they were still working on it, but that it would be coming this year.
Okay.
I can definitely see fourth quarter. That would make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Fourth quarter or first quarter of 2017.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's,
that's
I
pretty reasonable.
don't expect it soon, is what I'm saying, I guess.
yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely not going to.
It's not-
If it comes out, it's going to come out towards like the end of their tour. I would say.
Yeah.
Well, no, the thing is that right now they're just, at least for right now, they're just doing festival dates. But Alex said yesterday they're playing Barclays Center in New York, so don't freak out about trying to make these two shows.
Also, I
He's
think
getting spilling the beans again.
also the band signed to like Columbia like a few months back too, which is pretty interesting.
Right. James has always wanted a #1 album, so I think he's really gunning for that this time.
I could definitely see it happening. I think if it gets if it gets the boost from the right places, like I feel like they could be like a crossover into the Billboard Hot 100, like with the right.
I think
song
they've
and the right
definitely
promotion.
got
additional buzz because of the reunion, you know, and like
The festival
Yeah,
dates.
Under
If
the
they-
right conditions, they could easily get the #1 album. I think.
they could.
I think a big part in it, as we'll talk about this a bit later, but if alt radio really needs to like grab it onto them and like get something from them, because I feel like
It'll be interesting to see what their new sound kind of sounds like if they go for the "This Is Happening" style, or if they kind of come out with like a single-ish song, sort of like Sound of Silver had a bunch.
yeah.
I don't really think there's not really a single on "This Is Happening." Like obviously there is, but like radio type single on "This Is Happening," there really is.
I can change.
Drunk Girls.
I can change.
Drunk Girls is a single.
Yeah, Drunk Girls-
both
I
of those
I do think if they
times.
okay, I think like here a lot of factors have to go into place to like make sure like they get a #1 album. One, they got to have like a good hit on the alternative radio stations. I think like alternative radio is like a big thing. Like as someone who works at an alt radio station, like wow, like that can be a big thing for certain artists. Like because we've already seen like some alternative artists like get #1 albums. Like Panic at the Disco got a #1 album this year, and I'm trying to think
How
of some
did
other
Fall
ones.
Out Boy do?
I think
'Cause
they
they had some really big singles.
they probably got a #1 album. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Unless there was like some competition, but like definitely like they have to have good radio pushes from like alt stations and like college stations. I feel like that's gonna be really important to have like a really
Yeah.
good first single. And I mean,
Also, It's gonna need to have crossover potential.
Exactly. That's gonna be a big thing.
Because LCD Sound System has had songs that could have easily been like an alt radio hit or even like, you know, a regular pop radio hit, but never, you know, one that fits both.
I'm gonna say this.
So-
I'm gonna hold on. Oh, wait, what do you want to say something real quick?
Me?
Okay, and I'll just say this. I think they need to have the example that's just coming to mind for some reason is like Midnight City by M83. I feel like if
Yeah.
a single as
I
big
think
as that.
what I meant is I think LCD Sound System can come out with like a 4-ish minute song that's kind of sums up what they do, and it'll hit alt radio, and people will be like, LCD Sound System is fucking in, they're fucking back, and this is going to be a big album.
Like, here's the thing: as soon as like that first single comes out for the album, I'm gonna make sure I'm pushing that in my station. Like, this is going on air. I don't care if you don't like it. This is gonna be big. All right.
What if it's bad though, Matty?
If
What
it's
if the
bad,
song is bad?
that's
Nice
true.
meme.
However, I just can't think of it being bad. It's I know
Yeah.
I know it's like fucking like I know it's like remember back in like 1999 when everyone was like, oh, the prequels, they can't be bad. Episode 1, it can't be bad, and then it was like the fucking worst thing ever. But like with LC Sound
Literally the worst
No,
film ever.
I don't remember that.
with LC Sound System. Wait, you don't remember that?
I was 4 years old, so
That's true. I'm thinking about like documentaries. But anyways, like yeah, if LC, I just think like I don't think they could put something bad out. Like I just can't reasonably think of like, oh, they're gonna put something bad out.
Something I said in the chat earlier was that one thing that was really important to making LCD Sound System like a great band was James Murphy's sincerity, and based off of what he's written, just like in his comeback post, like that is very much still there. And he said that he'd been writing songs like in his head the whole time they were done. So I can't see James Murphy bringing bad material to the table. But maybe the band just comes out and makes a bunch of terrible instrumentals and it tanks the album. But I
maybe
really
they're just
don't
gonna
see
cash
that
grab.
happening.
Maybe they're just looking for the dough.
I don't
it's
I
been
don't believe that.
I can't. I think that's been discussed to death, like before. Like, is this all a cash grab? But I think it generally, like, again, from his sincerity, it's like it just seems like he didn't like. He kind of realized, oh, I don't want this to be over. Like, I have so many ideas I could use to this, and like that I can't use in a solo record. Like, it has to be through LCD. And
I haven't seen the documentary, but supposedly at the end of it, like after their last show, it's just James Murphy moping around and feeling like he made a mistake. So I really don't believe that this is a cash grab.
cut in. That's cut in through the whole like documentary. Like it'll show footage from the show, and then it'll show James Murphy, and he's like, "Oh, yeah, I wish I didn't do that."
Okay, we want to get into the next subject. Will, you want to do this one? Will, you want to do this one?
Sure. I guess. Last week. Let me talk my shit
Let him
again.
do his thing, okay? This is Will's thing, okay? We have.
I'm saying the words. All right. This week, Car Seat Headrest announced their studio debut album, "Teens of Denial," out May 20th on Matador Records.
Was Teens of Style not their Matador debut?
Teens of Style
It was technically.
Okay, Teens of Style was their Matador debut, but it was essentially a compilation album of like re-recorded material.
Okay.
But like this is their first like album on Matador of completely original material.
Okay.
I got the scoop.
Okay.
I actually got the scoop about the album release date like a week before everyone else knew because I interviewed.
Oh, look at this guy! Look at this guy!
I want to make this quick. Again, I forgot to mention this in the podcast news, but for this new series, How to Survive in the Music Industry, the next episode, the first episode was on Todd Hyman. The second episode will be on, or I'll be interviewing Will Toledo of Car Seat Headrest, which I'm very excited for you guys all to see because I'm really like the first show of How to Survive. There's a lot of stuff I wish I could fix, and a lot of stuff I'm like, wow, that's not very good. But there's some stuff on the second episode I'm like, wow, this just sounds like so much better, and the content's really good. And I'm really like, I really cannot wait like next week for you guys to see it because I'm already done with it, but I have to wait till like Monday to turn it in or whatever. But yeah.
Wow.
Anyways, let's talk about the new song. I guess the album. Fucking my god.
Yeah, no, this is definitely album of the year hype.
Yeah.
For a lot of reasons.
God, fucking Will, you again? Well, I want to talk about the song before we get into the fact that we started inside meme about car seat headrest.
Oh my god.
Yeah, we started inside meme and then it leaked out, and then now it's kind of rampant.
Yeah,
It's also meme of
Leaked
the year,
out.
meme of the year potential.
no. Okay,
Really?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, AJ, we'll talk about this. Okay, I will say this. Here's the thing.
You guys are killing me.
So our
I'm not
meme of the year
making
last
this.
year for the Indieheads Podcast Awards was Currents. Okay, and that was a
That was a
great-
forced meme too.
Well, that thing is right now we're forcing the car seat headrest meme. You guys are forcing it heavily.
So current started out forced too, but then it became natural.
Yes. So maybe that's what happened here, but like I think it's
No,
like
it's exactly what's happening here.
okay. I think fucking
It is following typical meme standards.
okay. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the new song. The new song's really good. It's a really good
I can't
song.
believe we just
Fantastic.
It's a great
You
song.
don't have to
devoted
be
any time
like
at all
this.
to talking
It
about
doesn't
any-
have to be like this. It doesn't
Well,
have to be like this. Killer whales. Killer whales.
I'm pretty.
Beautiful,
I'm all
Will,
for.
thank you.
I'm all for a song that says "fuck drunk drivers" because fuck drunk drivers. If you drunk drive, you're a
Yeah.
fucking asshole. I don't care. No sympathy.
AJ Jackson Jihad. AJ Jackson.
AJ Jackson.
Okay,
As
they're
someone who-
I don't
AJJ
have a
now.
brain,
Hybrid.
guys. It's just
As
gone.
someone who
It
has
left me.
driven drunk, I agree. Fuck me.
Yeah, fuck
Yeah,
me. I've done it
fuck
once.
you.
Yep, fuck it.
And the thing is, I didn't drive drunk, but I've driven high before, and I definitely was like, I shouldn't have done that. But you know,
Yeah.
that's
Weed
I don't think
kills.
it's-
I drove dehydrated once. Also really bad. Don't do it.
Oh, I've also driven.
Dehydration is it's underrated. I mean, drink water. Like hydration is a
Hydration
is a pillar.
Hydration
Hydration is a pillar.
Hydration is critical though. Like you will not think as well if you're dehydrated, and
That's
you
true.
won't drive as well for sure. Also, make sure you're well fed before you drive, kids.
Fucking sleep. That's for
Dehydration
that's
is the
important
number
too.
one cause
Fucking
of daytime
sleep.
fatigue. Fun fact.
Also, driving very tired is probably the scariest thing I've ever done.
Yes, I
So
will
get
say
rest
this.
and
I
drink water
I
before you drive.
got into a car accident last year because I drove like on an all nighter and I got in a car accident because I was a fucking
Okay.
asshole and fell asleep.
Low key advice though, just don't drive.
Yeah,
Don't do
ever
it.
drive.
Don't do it
Don't
at all.
drive.
Just don't do it.
Just don't drive.
Walk.
Don't have
Ride a
sex
bike.
either. It's dangerous.
Ride a bike. Get one of those hoverboards. Get a boosted board. Get a giant drone to take you to
Skateboard.
places. Magic,
Uber, y'all.
magic carpet.
Get the album Drones by Muse and just don't ever want to do anything again.
Yep. Oh god. Okay, but yeah, I'm really excited for Teens of Denial. Like I think it's gonna be a great album. Is it gonna
I've
be?
listened to all the.
Is it gonna be the next Funeral though? Fucking Jeremiah,
No.
motherfucker.
No.
That was not Jeremiah. That was me.
That was
Oh,
AJ
was that you?
and Will.
That
Well,
was
outside,
I like.
inside the chat it was him, but then Jeremiah took it
Yeah.
outside.
Oh,
I
God.
kind of like
Jeremiah
wanna
took it
because
to
like
the streets.
my big thing lately has been like I miss Funeral. Like we're never ever gonna have another Funeral. And then he dropped these two songs, and I was like, guys, like Teens of Denial could be like the closest thing we're gonna get to a next Funeral, and that started the whole like.
As like a phenomenon, I think Funeral, but sonically, this reminds me of a Lonesome Crowd of West a lot.
Yeah, I
The way
don't
the
think,
songs are structured.
Oh,
I
it doesn't
can't-
sound anything. I just mean like impact and reception.
Yes, but like I'm saying, sound wise,
I mean,
it was like the attitude it's being made with.
Okay,
I really
AJ.
get a Modest Mouse vibe.
AJ, can I ask you, since you're the Arcade Fire expert here, and I don't know shit about them.
I prefer the term stan.
Okay, prior to Funeral, did they come out with like any albums? Or
They
like,
had an EP,
EP?
a
Just an
6-song EP.
just an EP.
Yep.
But the thing is with Car Seat Headrest, it's weird. He's already so prolific because he's released like 11 albums on Bandcamp. Like what the fuck? Like before he
Yeah.
signed, 11 albums on
There-
Bandcamp.
That's the
so
big
many of them
mistake.
are
So
good
I feel like
too.
I- So I feel like he can't be the next Funeral because like Arcade Fire literally came out of nowhere. Like they came out
I
of
don't
nowhere.
mean Funeral. I don't mean Funeral in like debut. I just mean Funeral in like a kind of rocky album that everyone can rock and roll-y album that everyone can kind of circle around and be like, this is fucking great. Like this is probably the best thing we have this year.
Mhm.
It's
Like
been a
I've
while.
listened to. Have y'all listened to the previews on iTunes? Because like each song is like a minute and a half preview, so like I've heard like kind of every song.
I have.
And yeah, like I've kind of for the album, no big deal. But anyways, yeah, no, like if it's what I think it is, then this is definitely album of the year potential. And I'm like, was it Bob Boylan at NPR already called it his album of the year, and Ian Cohen already said it's in his top 10, and Stephen Hayden was has very kind words for it. So I mean, like, I just like I can't. This album just can't lose, you know.
I anticipate it being one of my favorites of the year, but I can't start calling it album of the year already.
I want to tie back to that Bob Boilen thing because I mean I think we're all like sort of like right now like predicting that he's going to be the big breakout artist of 2016, and we have to remember that Bob Boilen. We have to remember. So let's go back to March of 2015. I think it was March. Well, no, it was like
This is gonna be good.
It was January. It was January of 2015 actually. So Courtney Barnett releases
Pedestrian at Best.
Pedestrian at Best, and that was a great single. That was my first introduction to her. I'm like, wow, this is great. Bob Boilen says, "Hey, Courtney Barnett, this is my favorite album of 2015," and then she goes on to be this big breakout artist, and like she's like playing at like Madison Square Garden, like she's nominated for Grammys and shit. She's fucking everywhere. Do you think this is gonna happen? Do you think this is gonna happen to Seat Headrest this year, guys?
I mean, I don't think
no. I don't think so.
Yes and no.
Yeah.
Like, the thing is, Courtney Barnett is quirky, so she has some her quirkiness makes some crossover appeal.
Also, like, Car Seat Headrest doesn't. Courtney Barnett's songs were like poppy and short, you know. Car Seat Headrest writes like 8.
He's not going to appeal to the same. Yeah,
This is a much
he does
over.
not have.
It's gonna be like an hour and 20-minute album, I think.
He doesn't have
Yeah.
crossover appeal at all.
But in the indie rock world, like at least exclusively in there, like I definitely think he's the thing this year. I mean,
This album's going to be huge, is what I'll say.
I almost don't want him to be, even though I wish him all the success in the
You're
world.
being
Just
selfish.
'cause
You're being selfish.
the thing is, he's already
The Courtney
released like
Barnett
11.
Circle Jerk was so bad last year.
Most,
really
most
wasn't.
secret club.
It's like dissipated.
Yeah.
I will say though, like I'm like tomorrow is like my music meeting for my radio station. I'm bringing Drunk Drivers and Killer Whales to the music meeting. Like if they don't pass that, I'm gonna be really disappointed.
It's
They're
a
gonna say, like,
great
what-
song.
But the
They're
thing
going
is,
to
hey,
say, what's this sad shit, Matty? Get out of
I
here.
have to be. Okay, the thing is, okay, I want to talk about. I know very quickly because actually this is going to tie into what we talk about next. Are we just going to skip what we've been listening to? Are we all
Yep.
good to do that? Okay. So,
Absolutely.
So I started going to the new music meetings for my college radio station, which is an alternative station, and let me just say that modern alternative is kind of a shithole. But I think alternative is just like kind of weird in general because like I like looking through. This,
Do we just want to call this? Yeah, I have things to say about this.
I'll
too.
talk about, our main topic tonight is that Consequence of Sound. They put out a list of the from ranking from worst to best, all 336 songs that have reached number one on the alternative Billboard charts. 336 songs ranked from worst to best. That's insane. Like I appreciate any publication that's like that tries to do that. And I think like there's some cases I disagree. Like okay, I think I would have put some stuff higher, but like you're with 336 songs, you're not going to agree at all with like the entire list. There wasn't any time in the list where I'm like, wow, I'm agreeing with like everything here. But yeah, alternative right now is just like, I mean, here's the thing. At the worst parts of the list, most of the stuff in there was like stuff from the mid 2000s, and I will somewhat defend the mid 2000s based on nostalgia reasons and nostalgia reasons alone, because that was the music I listened to when I was like 10. Okay, I know it's terrible, but like I remember like being a kid and enjoying that music, and so for that, it's like I can't hate it entirely, even though I know it's bad.
What if we just casually dispelled all pretension for this podcast and called some of these songs good?
Okay, I will say, hold on, I know I'm coming off as really pretentious and an asshole right now, but like,
No, I wasn't
good-
trying to say that.
there is good modern alternative out there. I mean, there's some great stuff right now that
Yeah.
we're playing on my station, but in general, the genre right now is very stagnant, stale, and bland. There's not really that much interesting stuff happening. And I'll go on to it a bit later with some of these picks because I know there's one pick here where I really want to like go and rant about the stuff, but yeah. So we're gonna go over the top 10 songs that they picked.
Oh,
to sort
what-
of- Wait, do you want to talk? I'll let you go, AJ, real quick before we get into.
I just wanted to do like a quick intro in that this list, like there's weird stuff all over this list, and I think that's just by nature because alternative music has always been kind of hard to define, and that's the
Yeah.
thing. You're like, alternative music, what is it? Does it sound alternative? It's just kind of, it's sort of like independent, where you say like, oh, I like indie music. What the fuck does that mean? I like alternative music. Alternative to what, you goddamn shithead? It's a weird genre. Like, it's also very 90s-ish, and I think that's good that this list has so many like early 90s and 2000 songs.
I think-
That's just sort of what it is.
I think it's funny that this is a list that contains both royals and like a bunch of System of a Down songs,
Exactly.
and not like ranking like, oh, these are our favorite songs. You know, it's more just like ranking a bunch of songs in the same category. I don't know. What I wanted to say though is that
same way.
as much as it is easy to make fun of System of a Down,
They're great.
I think-
They're great. Like I know people.
like,
here's
I'd
the
like
thing
to
with
go on a
System.
personal rant to defend System of a Down. I would.
I'm not gonna go on a rant, but I will say that System of a Down, they get lumped in with like new metal and shit, but like those guys are
Yeah.
like really technically skilled. Like they're really great
yeah,
musicians.
they're technically skilled, and they bought like they brought incredible pop hooks and like Middle Eastern sensibility to metal, and that's just really fascinating, and it sounds good most of the time. Like,
and it wasn't completely
you know,
embarrassing, and it wasn't like, wow, this is so
Yeah.
dated. It was like,
and
this still
and
sounds
they can be
great
kind of
today.
like they can be conspiracy theorists sometimes, but like, you know, I just can't disrespect them
Like
for
you can't tell me Chop Suey doesn't
their
bang.
strength as songwriters and like just kind of the unique style they had.
Yeah, I will definitely defend System of a Down. It's like that's music where like I listen to Limp Bizkit now and I go, oh god, I still have like some nostalgia for it, but like I realize how bad it is. But like System of a Down, I'm like, wow, this is like generally really great music. Like again, like you can't tell me like you can't listen to Chop Suey. You can't tell me that doesn't bang. You can't tell me you don't sing along.
Did no
to it.
bang.
Okay, you're wrong, Will. Okay, you're
Okay,
fired.
yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
let's
you're-
get
Objectively wrong.
let's get into like let's actually
Um,
like tell people what's going on. So Consequence of Sound, they put out their list, and we're gonna be going over their top 10 picks and sort of like deciding what we think about those songs and like maybe how we would have ranked the list, or like saying, oh, we would pick this over this. Essentially, we're just kind of like evaluating this instead of going over the Billboard top 10 because everyone decided it was boring. We should do this instead because it's more interesting. Which I actually kind of agree with, like now, because at first I wasn't on board, but now I'm like, actually, I'm kind of on board with this.
I want to do another Billboard Top 10, but I want to do it with better songs.
Yeah, they fucking
Like-
suck.
I agree.
I do like a couple of the songs on here. Like, you know, there's no denying work, but like it's a really boring top 10 right now.
Oh, I totally agree. Like
I say we wait until the summer because that's when things get kind of interesting because you have like all these artists vying for Song of the Summer and like
I
you
say
get
music.
a lot of people
I say
kind of
music
new
is
coming
dead.
out.
also the charts are really stagnant right now. Like I'm looking at the charts right now, and like there's a bunch of songs in here that have been like stuck in the top 10 for weeks now. I think
Yeah.
there's only been like, I mean, Ariana Grande, her single debuted in the top 10, but like that's about it when it comes to interesting stuff. Stressed Out is like,
Surprised she only debuted at number 10.
well, here's the thing. Right now, like she had Focus, and that flopped like really hard. Like that just did not do well in the charts at all. Like it dropped. Like it did not. It was supposed to be her big single, and like it flopped hard, and like it barely had any presence on the charts, and like it slid from airplay really quickly and just fell off the charts within like weeks, which everyone was like, what? How? Like that wasn't the plan. This was supposed to. No, that wasn't supposed to happen. But now, like I think she's starting to get like some. You know, she's
I didn't
starting
like
to
the
get some
title
ground again.
track, Dangerous Woman, but actually I did like Be Alright, her newest single. So I'm
Right.
actually interested in the album.
Where'd that debut? Oh, I think it's supposed to debut next week. It'll probably be like somewhere in the top. It may have already debuted
Yeah,
right now.
I like that song a lot though. That like I don't like Dangerous Woman very much, but the other one's kind of neat.
I need to listen to it.
So-
Anyways, let's get into this top 10 list. Number 10, Oasis, Wonderwall. Okay, do we have?
It's a classic. It's a classic. It's a classic.
Do we want to
It's a
discuss this?
classic.
Hold on, do we want to discuss this, or do we like? Do you want like? Okay, do you guys want me to just replace? The
I
audio
like
with the pavement
I'm a
cover?
Wonderwall defender. I mean like I back when I was in like 9th grade, I fucking love that song. I've played on
Okay.
guitar a lot. I know some cool
Okay.
vocal melodies
Okay.
and stuff.
All right. So I will give the song that it is a very important song to teenagers, but fucking trash and I hate it. It's
Anyways, here's Wonderwall.
Hey, hold on. Have you guys heard the Neil CC Jarrah remix of this song? It's Wonderwall with to find it. Look up like Wonderwall with all the vowels taken out. It was on his Mouth Silence, Mouth Sounds like compilation album. It's one of the funniest things you'll ever hear in your entire life.
Now, AJ, more important than that, have you heard the Pavement cover of this song?
Pavement cover. What's that?
Oh, here's the Pavement cover right now.
Could you play another one of your spiffy tunes for us?
Well, you know what? We're not going to play one of our own tunes. We're going to do a cover because the song's been so overplayed, we're going to keep on. We want to kind of kill the song once and for all, so. Today is gonna, today is gonna be the day that you bring it all back to you. Whoops. By now you should have realized what the hell you're gonna do. And I don't believe that anybody feels the way I do about you now. Take it, Noel. And all the walls, you know that they are winding. And that sun above me, it is so blinding. Yeah, there are so many things that I would like to say to you, but I don't know how. I said that maybe you're gonna be the one who saves me. You're gonna be the one that saves me, that saves him. Thank you. And after all, what's next? You are my wonder wall. You are my wonder wall.
Singing out of pure enmity, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Okay, we're back. Hope you guys enjoyed Pavement. That was for Jeremiah and Arthi. That was your weekly
I like
Pavement segment of the
Pavement
week.
too.
I
Okay,
feel like
also
that's
for
really
Alex.
the Pavement cover is really all that needs to be said about Wonderwall. Is that like, here's this song, I kind of wish it doesn't exist, but like it does, and we have to accept that.
See, I guess it's just
Hey,
like,
Wonderwall, I fuck with you, Wonderwall.
Yeah,
even
my
the Gallagher's.
wow.
You can
even
make
the
any song sound
Gallagher's,
bad when
with
you sing
all
the
their
lyric vocals
ego,
like that.
acknowledge that it's like just
It's overplayed to
complete
shit.
fucking babble.
I mean, it's become a meme at this point. The song
yeah.
isn't.
Yeah, things like
So-
you can't make like you don't have if this song isn't near the top of your rankings, then you don't have a list. You know what I'm
I
saying?
mean, like for this list, yeah, I would put
No.
it there. No, for this list, for
you
top,
don't have a list if you don't have Wonderwall.
for top alt rock radio songs of all time, yeah, this has to be on there.
I always thought the reputation of like douchey 20-year-old trying to wheel girls on open mic night was kind of like overblown, but I legit swear to God, last summer there's a kid on campus with a guitar playing Wonderwall like under a tree, like in the shade.
It's not a
And there
fucking
was, like,
joke.
No, it's not a joke. There's like two girls next to him,
This
and I'm
is the
like,
first time we've heard Jake in like a half an hour, and he comes with this.
Yeah.
shit.
and I thought like I thought he was like being ironic, but I realized people don't do that in real life, so I was like, no, this is a real thing that's actually happening, and I'm witnessing it.
And
I
that's
just want
all-
to note that I played Wonderwall for a lot of girls at church back in high school, and I never had sex with any of them. So I just want to. I mean, like,
And
only
that's
half
all.
the myth is
And
true.
that's all that needs to be said about Wonderwall. Let's get into number 9. Sinead O'Connor. Nothing compares to you.
The number 8. Queens
Fuck
the Stone
song.
Age. No one
Okay,
knows.
no, Will. Well, actually, no. It's boring.
Have you guys heard? Did you guys like know this song before? I'd
No.
never heard the song. Yeah.
I'd
Wait,
never
really,
heard this
AJ?
song before.
Really?
I kind of like it. I appreciate it for what it is, but like I'm confused as to why it made it so far, you know?
Because it was a huge single. Like it was okay. I will say this real quick about Sinead O'Connor. Like I'm gonna compare it to something that I've learned from being like a part of an alternative radio station. Essentially, this song like became huge. It got to like number 1 the Hot 100. Like it crossed over like huge, like big time. And actually, no, I'll talk about this a bit later. But yeah, it crossed over huge time, and that's why it's here, because it's like, oh wow, it's this huge crossover single, and like it's a fucking, I think it's a Prince cover. I want to say it's a Prince cover. I'm gonna
Really?
check this real quick.
Is
Yep, it's a Prince cover. Well,
Okay.
it's for one of his side projects, The Family, but it's essentially written by Prince.
Yeah,
It's-
bad
doesn't-
job, Prince. Bad job.
But yeah, there's not much to say. I mean, this song, it's like it's boring. Like now, it's like it's really dated. It's kind of boring.
You don't hear it on alt rock radio anymore. Like,
No, God,
they
no.
don't play. This song's not in the
It's
system
not as
anymore.
classic as a song we're going to be talking about in a few things on the list.
Yeah,
Okay, so
Pretty much every other song here is more essential than this song.
yeah.
I think-
agree.
I could say that you don't ought to know this song.
I mean,
is
yeah, I
all.
think most people know this song. But Okay, let's just let's get to number 8. Jake, do you have anything to say about Nothing Compares
Wait,
to You? Do you have any funny stories?
No, I listened
I
to it. I
do.
don't have any funny stories. No one was playing it under a tree. Never heard that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So, okay, I think this song has good textures. That is all. Let's move on.
Okay, Will, you want to do the honors here since this is your
I mean, I already did it. I mean, yeah, Queens of the Stone Age. No one knows.
I seem to like this song more than you do, though.
Yeah, the thing is, I'm a big fan of the Queens of the Stone Age, and like, I think it's a good song, but it's like not necessarily one of my favorites by them.
Yeah.
You know, but it's like still like a great song, one of the best songs on the list.
It's kind of their song though. Like that's.
Oh no, that's definitely the trademark Queens of the Stone Age song that everyone.
Oh well, 3s and 7s.
Everyone
made
knows.
for 3s and 7.
And I mean, this is the first time. Thing is, the song for some reason it's weirdly familiar, but I think that this is like from researching today for this main topic, which we decided to do at the last minute. I feel
It's one of those songs you've probably heard in a trailer or a montage or some shit.
Exactly.
The interesting thing about Queens of the Stone Age is that there's a pretty big discrepancy from like the band as you hear them on the radio and what the band is like actually is, you know?
Yeah.
The only songs of theirs that make it to the radio are their quieter songs, which are the songs I actually like most. That like were kind of great as pop songs, like this song, and you know,
Well, this song is
I
it's
said
not
Go With
quiet
the
by any
Flow,
means.
I
I
said
mean,
by
it's
the
not
ocean.
necessarily quiet, but like you know what I mean. Compared to their other stuff, which is like
It's-
aggressive, like
It's more
you know,
nuanced.
yeah.
Still-
Well, I don't know about nuanced, but
Yeah, because the thing is that Queens of the Stone Age are that band that they keep that classic hard rock tradition alive, but doing it like in a way that no one else does it. You know, I mean, like but they still bring interesting songwriting to the table and still
Yeah.
like kind of evolving with the
Like,
time and like they're still staying fresh.
they aren't
with-
a cover band that writes original songs. You know what I
Right.
mean by that?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
they aren't
Like
just
Josh Homme
recreating the past. He's
is like
he's
Queens of the Stone
his
Age are a very
own
singular
artist within that
band.
style. Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
why they're one of my favorites.
Queens of the Stone Age is one of my favorites too, and I don't know that No One Knows is really one of my favorite songs by them, but I'm definitely glad it's this high up on the list because it's at least fairly representative of what the band is about, kind of, you know, just like making these like songs that are still heavy and still like have this kind of stoner rock atmosphere, but they don't sacrifice like hooks and songwriting quality like you were saying.
I think
Yeah.
something that I think actually not knowing their catalog as well like allows me to enjoy this song more than you guys do, because like I know very little about Queens of the Stone Age other than like Clockwork and their singles and I don't know, so this is like within my very limited knowledge of them, and I'm like, yeah, Queens of the Stone Age, you know, this scratches that itch for me. And it sounds fucking great, you know, it's a great pop song.
It is a great. I mean,
Yeah.
of every band on this list, this is the one
bridge
to rock
of
out.
this song is like next level. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah,
It's
and Josh
it's
Homme's
so
voice.
great.
It's
Josh
like so,
Homme's falsetto is so
so-
amazing.
it's so
and he
beautiful, like
uses it
crooning.
so
but
well.
yeah, no, yeah, he's
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah, he's-
it's like a secondary thing for him, but it's so perfect, you know? Like every once in a while he breaks it out and you're like, fuck.
he's
if you-
definitely my favorite rock star.
That's
in the world.
me.
I think
That's
I think
it.
he's the best rock star in the world right now. If that makes sense.
Yeah, Alex, if you like this song and you like Clockwork, then you definitely need to check out Songs for the Deaf. Like, it's a classic,
Yeah.
just through and through.
Sure.
It's a classic.
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 Can I introduce the next one?
Yeah, go on ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, number 7 is the classic "You Ought to Know" by Alanis Morissette, a song about Dave Coulier, aka Uncle
Okay,
Joey
well,
from
it's
Full
not
House.
confirmed. It's not confirmed. It's about him, but
Okay.
it's one of the many
It's
like, people.
confirmed.
Okay, sure, it's confirmed.
Uncle
actually,
Joey?
I actually want to talk about the song a little bit because it's like a little. I'll let you guys go first, but like,
Yeah, this
the
song
really
is full of.
interesting.
This song is full of fucking lyrical barbs. I just want to say that, like, "I hate to bug you in the middle of dinner" is like one of the greatest lyrics of all time and one of the greatest deliveries of all time. I think Alanis Morissette is one of like the best kind of like. She's like the Patti Smith of the '90s, even though I'm pretty sure Patti Smith was around in the '90s, but like she kind of did what Patti Smith was doing like for the '90s, and I fucking love Alanis Morissette, and I fucking love this song, and it deserves to be in the top 10 for sure.
I agree.
I respect Alanis Morissette, but that being said, I can't stand this song.
Okay, well, let me be positive about the song because I'm kind of with AJ on this. Like, I'm not hearing alternative songs nowadays, like on my like alternative station, that have as much ferocity as this song. The only song that comes like close is like X's and O's by El King.
I would say that Car Radio by 21 Pilots.
Fuck
is
you.
Oh my God, guy.
Fuck you.
Okay, so alt radio nowadays lacks teeth, and in a way, that's
Exactly.
I don't know, like
Music these days lacks teeth. Music lacks teeth.
Music lacks music.
Music lacks
part of me
being
feels
good.
like that's kind of almost a response to like, you know, what it used to be, which
had
was like
the-
bands
yeah,
that
we had
kind of
the-
glued teeth to their music, but
Yeah, we had the 90s
know.
and early 2000s that were like, if your music's not edgy, it's not music.
Oh yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's definitely, I think the chilled out of like modern alternative is definitely a response to like how it was in like the early
Yeah.
mid 2000s, where it was like super angsty and aggressive. It's
We
definitely
have
a
like
response
the
to that.
anti.
you know,
I don't
it
think
wasn't-
we haven't
it
we haven't
wasn't, like-
specifically gotten it yet, but the anti Bring Me to Life is on its way. So like, just a like Take Me Out of Life is on it. Just super chilled, stripped down, like, but on the same emotional spectrum, just the complete polar opposite. I
Which
think that's where we're headed.
Mhm, and which is why I will defend like the early to mid 2000s alternative stuff, because it did have teeth. I mean, it was like stupid and bad and like bro douchey, but like it had teeth. It had some grit to it. Like, you know, it was again.
There
I
was
was
good bands
I was
in
an
there.
angry white boy when I was like 10 years old, and that music
Yeah.
spoke to me.
And you still are.
weren't we
I
all?
still am.
Yeah.
Was
I am still. I mean, let's be
So
honest.
like there were bands that were doing cool stuff that I feel like get lost within that spectrum because they were, you know, they were just as like angsty and edgy as the rest of them. Like System of a Down and like, you know, I'm an Incubus fanboy. Like I don't listen to them as much as I used to, but they were one of my favorite bands when I was younger, and I do revisit their stuff sometimes, and it holds up for me, you know, like. They did a lot of really interesting things within their genre, and I respect them a lot for that.
Mm-hmm. And it's just, again, it's definitely like I want there to be more teeth, because I listen to these songs. It's just like, it's bland pop music is what it is. It's bland pop music.
Yeah.
And I love me some alt pop. I love me some weird ass experimental pop, but we're not playing it on, like, alternative stations are not picking up this like really genuinely weird cool pop that's going like Empress of, she should be big on alternative radio right now, but for some reason, like, stations are not picking her up, and I have no idea why.
Because no one's heard of her.
That's true. Hopefully with the next couple albums,
Yeah.
albums, she definitely gets a rise. But even then, there's still like certain alternative artists where it's like, why are we not playing? Like Saint Vincent is a giant one where I'm
Yeah.
like,
yeah,
why have we not
it's
picked her up
weird
at
that,
all?
Like, there's gotta be some
We haven't
Saint
picked up. We have
Vincent
not picked up
song
Saint
that could've
Vincent.
made
We
it
have
on-
not picked up Grimes.
on
We
the
have not
radio.
picked up fucking Alabama Shakes. Alabama
Birth
Shakes.
of Reverse should be on the radio. Like,
That's a weird
that should
station.
happen.
My college station has like all of those and more. My college station, I think, is like an
Okay.
outlier though. They're really good and they get like some really obscure shit on there. But
Yeah.
most alt radio is trash.
Okay,
here's the
my
thing. Your
college
station's like an
station
indie
is-
station. It's like it's a legitimate college station, AJ. My station
Yeah.
is an
Yeah.
alternative station fronting as a college station. Because we
Ah.
say we're college radio's best, but we do not represent college radio in the slightest.
There are two major college stations in my area, and one's the station I work at, which is like actually legitimately doing a bunch of weird shit. It doesn't mix. Like there's a lot of bluegrass on my station, which is actually a tradition that was set up with my parents when they went there and like kind of actually built the radio station. And then there's the one in Boston, which is like a major station, and it does all the alt stuff, and like they
like
do all the
WBCP or something
bland,
like that?
trashy alt stuff, and it's WBRU. They do
WBRU.
all like the bland alt stuff, but they also like at night from 11 to midnight they play a bunch of cool indie jams, and I just wish they'd incorporate that a little bit more in their day-to-day programming.
And I'm trying my best to do that with my college station next year. Like I really want to. Like here's the thing. There's already
Yeah,
an
wait,
already an
okay.
alternative station in my area. So
Here's an
why are we
example.
trying to compete?
I heard Speedy Ortiz on the station at like 11:30 one night. I was like, "Wow, this is great," you know. And they've played Beirut and just a bunch of other stuff. Artists I actually wasn't familiar with, you know. Like I wish they'd incorporate that a little bit more. But you know,
I mean, do we just want to get to like number 6 because we're kind of already kind of getting into the subject a little bit.
We didn't really talk
yeah.
about Alanis Morissette at all, but it's a good song, and if you don't like it, I think fuck you.
It's
That's all I-
okay.
it's a great
Oh,
it's a great breakup track.
I'll accept that. Fuck you.
Okay, number 6. Okay, number 6 on the list. Beck, Loser, and I want to continue back the conversation. Which again,
This song's a loser.
oh my
No,
god.
hate
I like
you,
it.
Okay,
Jay.
I like Loser a lot because here's the thing with alternative radio. It's fucking weird. It's legitimately fucking weird. The production techniques, the lyrics, the way he like Beck is like it's so weird.
It's like a folk rap song.
It's a folk rap song,
Yeah.
but it's also
Yeah,
like
it is.
it's also this weird like sampling stuff and like all this random shit, and it's like, how did this get big?
This song is weird because it's not like an indicator of Beck's musical style, but it also kind of is because it's like weird and out there and crazy, which like his discography looking at it is. But you can't like look at the song and be like, this is what Beck sounds like. But you can look at the song and be like, this is what Beck sounds like. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
but that's the thing
what
that
Beck's
Beck, you
about.
can't point to any Beck song.
This
This
is
is what Beck
Beck
sounds
as
like.
a person, but not necessarily a strict definition of Beck as an artist. And it's not really a strict definition of Beck as a person either.
Because he's not a loser. He's got a Grammy, ya bitch.
So,
Can we just make the statement that like the mid '90s was probably one of the best periods for alternative?
Absolutely.
No,
I love
At least
it's-
the early to mid '90s seems like from this list I can definitely say like that's probably the best period.
There
That's
was
like
a lot of
what it is.
variety
Lots
too.
of-
Like you'd have Nirvana, and then maybe you'd have like Sex and Candy or like fucking
R.E.M.
Pepper by
Sex
the
and Candy is the
Butthole
exact same thing as Nirvana. You can't.
Okay, well no,
you can't
no,
be like,
it's not,
oh,
though. It's
you have
not
Stevie
though.
Ortiz and you have Hopalong in indie rock right now.
I mean again.
Okay, so the difference between Nirvana and like Sex and Candy is Nirvana was I'm angry, but Sex and Candy was like, yeah, I'm kind of weird. I don't know, like
I know,
Sex
so
and
the
Candy
difference
is a
is
bizarre song.
Sinead
He just
O'Connor.
sounds kind of like Kurt Cobain.
I don't know. Sinead O'Connor, like that's a good contrast to Nirvana.
Yeah, but
That's better. That's
Sinead
better
O'Connor
than
was
Marcy's
like really
Playground.
early '90s. I mean,
I feel like she was kind of an outlier on this list stylistically, though.
Yeah, I mean, maybe with the next one we can kind of talk about
Yeah.
it, but like I actually have a story about this next one that like kind of makes sense with how like alternative radio is fucking weird. But yeah,
Anyways, yeah,
Beck Loser is a
is
great song.
goat.
It's so because the thing is like I see him. It's like I'm seeing no modern alt artists like making like these huge fucking risks that Beck was taking. Like there's no
You know
song,
what's funny?
There's no song on the charts right now that's generally as weird as this. Some people go, well, what about 21 Pilots? No, they're not weird.
Fuck you.
Fuck you.
Loser was improvised. It was Beck made it up in the 5 minutes he wrote the song. Like he was performing live, and I don't know, I can't quite remember. He either heard that there was going to be like A&R there, or like people wanted like a happier song or something. I don't know. So he just kind of like, whatever, I'll just do this. And he
I'm a
just
loser,
kept
baby.
playing
Why
the
don't you kill
same
me?
fucking chords and made up words. And that's why
apparently-
the song makes completely no fucking sense, more so than the rest of his discography. And like, you know, that's how we have Beck, because Beck decided to make up some random bullshit on the fly, and I love that.
Yeah, apparently he was like looking around the studio at random objects and just like using that as inspiration for his lyrics as he was writing the song, and it ended up becoming just like an anthem of the
Yeah.
90s.
It's like it's kind of slacker vibes of the '90s. This song
Yeah.
perfectly encapsulates it. Like, I'm a loser, baby. Why don't you kill me? No.
Yeah.
Yeah, great track, and it definitely makes me miss like alternative radio back then. Where I don't want to get like, oh man, the '90s, man.
Yeah.
The 90s,
They're
man.
wrong. They're wrong generation.
I
But
miss
it's
being
but
negative
it's
2 years old.
but it's definitely like, man, like, why are we not having an?
Hey, why don't they
play?
play songs like this anymore?
I know we were
Part
talking.
of it is like,
we were
okay,
talking
but
earlier about who's
all
gonna
right,
make
wait,
the next.
wait. So part of the thing is, in '90s, like alt rock was the genre. You know, it was the versatile genre that had like a bunch of artists who were like had a lot of ideas and wanted to get shit and were making great albums. Alt rock now is not like isn't that genre. Hip hop is that genre.
Definitely. And also, it's sort of, you know, it's just kind of how the music industry is, where the music industry cannot take as many risks as it used to be able to make. Like, a band like Smashing Pumpkins, like, oh, hey, let's give this band, like, oh, they went, like, $2,500 over budget. No big deal.
Yeah.
Like, that's not going to happen now. Like, they would, like, no record label would let that happen.
You know what definitely wouldn't have happened now?
What?
Fucking Loveless.
Oh yeah, that's for sure.
They bankrupted their label, and the label just let it happen.
Exactly.
They were like, "You need some more
And
money."
they weren't even like that big of
Yeah,
an
I
artist. They
guess.
weren't like making hit songs.
Yeah,
They were just
Yeah,
like,
no, it never blew up till like years later.
They were basically
It's
just
only
like
a
a
cult.
mid-tier act on that label, and it was like, what the like how? Why would they let this happen?
And we got the best album in the '90s. I'm calling it.
Hush.
Okay,
Child.
let's get into number 5 right now. Number 5 is Lord and Royals, and I have a quick story about the song that relates to it's like completely different, but it's trust me guys, it'll all make sense. So I was taking out my radio station a few months ago, and we were going through songs and deciding like, hey, what song do we want to play next? And for some reason we had Katy Perry, I Kissed a Girl in our library, and I'm like, what the fuck is this song doing in our library? Ended up finding out later that Katy Perry was originally being pushed as an alternative artist before she went like pop. But that brings up the question though of like, who decided I Kissed a Girl should be alternative?
Yeah.
It's edgy.
But
Edgy.
even then, it
Lesbians aren't popular; they're
Okay,
alternative.
you know
I
what?
just
You know what?
cannot
You're
make
right. It is edgy. It was banned from my local roller rink.
But like even then, but Katy Perry
Wait,
like
no, hold on a sec. I have a quick anecdote. I Kissed a Girl is not edgy because I definitely remember that being played at my middle school dance, and I went to Catholic.
Yeah.
school. I remember this.
oh god, but even then,
Maybe just went to an edgy Catholic school.
But anyways, Lord Royals, this is a song that like essentially it's weird to think about like, oh, this was an alternative hit at one point. Like this was originally pushed as alternative, and now it's like Lord is like this big like pop artist who's like best friends with Taylor Swift and like working with like all these different artists, and everyone loves her. And I like this song. By the way, guys, I really like this song. Royals is a great pop song.
I like the song
But-
too, and it's not really weird to think about it that way
Yeah.
because like Lord stands out as one of like the weird success stories of the current kind of field of pop music because she literally kind of did just come out of nowhere. This song kind of blew up, and then the rest is history. I mean, it's not odd to think about. It's just rare. It doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Well,
in
I
this.
think she hasn't followed it up yet either, so we don't know. Like, is she gonna take a more like poppier direction, or is she gonna like go more experimental? Like, we don't know, or is she just gonna disappear? We don't
It
know.
surprised me that like they put it this high on the list considering how new it is, but it's like
I think
I'm
really
not
likes
saying
the
it's
song.
not deserving. Like I think it's a really great song, and I think it came from a great album. It's not really my favorite song on the album, but you know it was the #1 hit. So
Yeah, it's definitely it's really interesting. It's definitely like an interesting look at how the music industry is, and it's like, oh wow, like this artist was pushed as like an alternative artist, but she somehow becomes this huge like pop crossover success, and they're like, it gets to the point where it's like you forget that she was pushed as an alternative artist. It's like because like Singer on this list was like, wait, she was an alternative artist at some point. And it's the same with Katy Perry, where it's like, oh wow, at some point she was an alternative artist, and she was on like Van's Warped Tour and shit. But then she like,
Katy Perry was?
yeah, she was on Van's
Get
Warped Tour.
out of town, Joe
I'm
Brown.
not getting out of town, dude. She was on Van's Warped Tour.
Well,
It's for fucking real, and it's like what, like, because I can't think of Katy Perry
that's
as an alternative artist.
fantastic.
I can't think of her as because like that. Because she's been pop for so many years, and like right away she was like a big pop artist, and it's like how.
I mean,
don't
she just
know.
like everything about her packaging, just everything about it is like pop.
Exactly, and it's like
Well, no, she actually originally was like made Christian, like she had a Christian
Yeah.
upbringing. She originally like made Christian songs. I did know that.
yeah, but you know that was like her parents made her do that shit because her parents are fucking crazy.
Like Father John Misty.
Yep.
Wait, are his parents crazy?
I mean, he wasn't allowed to listen to like secular music until in high school.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of religion, number 4 on the list is
Oh,
R.E.M.
we're here
Losing My
already?
Religion.
Okay.
Yeah, but one thing I
have-
did want to say about Lord is that
I have
she did the David Bowie tribute.
So hurry up.
Yeah, she did the REM tribute. I'm not REM. Damn it. She did the David Bowie tribute at the Brits Awards, and apparently David Bowie is a big fan and thought that she was the next big thing. So like when we're talking about the hero that will take his place,
Lord.
I mean, the thing is that she does have that. She does have that appeal. She has general pop appeal, but also she seems like an artist.
I think
you know?
it's too
But think
early
But she-
in her discography.
Like, she can be the one that challenges the
with
mainstream.
confidence.
You know what I'm saying?
That's true, but the thing with Bowie was that like the
I
dude.
think she already succumbed. I think she's already succumbed to the mainstream, TBH.
Yeah,
Yeah, but so I mean,
Bowie
I don't know.
was just like
David
his-
Bowie challenged the mainstream.
Yes, that was true, but Bowie was like outside of the mainstream in a lot of ways. Like he wasn't following trends, but Lord is definitely like she's not like Lorda's not creating trends, you know.
Well, we don't know because she only has one album, so we can't really.
That is true. I mean, I can't see her as the
I
next
see that-
Bowie. I can maybe see her as like who's like a big like pop artist in like this. Maybe as the next. I can't say Kate Bush. I was gonna say that, but I realized it's like completely wrong. Maybe not Kate Bush. I'm trying to think of an artist that like I could compare Lorde to that isn't David Bowie because I just can't see that at all. I mean, I can see her as the next big thing, but I can't see her as like the next Bowie. Like that just does not.
I think that maybe not specifically Bowie, but I think
we can agree that comparisons are generally stupid and forced.
Yep.
Yeah. Here's my thing for her though. I think she can continue having major pop appeal while making the music she wants to make and maybe challenging the mainstream.
Yeah.
And that makes sense. Like that's what we need right now. We don't need experimental artists. We need a popular artist that challenges confines. You know what I mean? I think that could be Lorde.
Or no, right now it's 21 Pilots. They're challenging the norm of right now what's pop music.
And speaking of number 4, 21 Pilots.
21 Pilots are challenging the distinctions of good fucking music. That's what I have to say about that.
Okay,
all right, number 4 is Losing My Religion by R.E.M. I just want to go out on a limb here and say that this is one of the greatest songs of all time. I don't give a fuck what you have to say, but this song's...
I so much agree. These top 4 songs are just cash money.
Okay, but like,
they're money
shots. Okay, here's the thing. Like, this song's like, I get that people like this song and it's a generally well respected song, but like this song's still just like under. This is just like one of the best songs just like of all time. The song's so fucking good, so fucking emotional, so fucking powerful. God bless the song. REM like has kind of become some sort of like butt end of the joke for some reason. I don't really get it, but they're not like respected as much as I feel like they should be. And this song is just so good. And the last thing I want to say is, remember when the Decemberists like kind of remade this song and ripped it off like 3 years ago, and no one ever really talked about that? That was kind of weird. That's it.
I mean,
you said everything I want to say. Like, it's just a fucking good song.
Oh yeah. Like listening to it, I'm like, wow. I've never listened to an REM album. I've barely listened to like anything outside of this song. I really need to get into their albums because have
you heard this one? This one I
like REM singles, but
Shiny Happy People.
Wait, where are you going to say, Alex?
I like REM singles, but I've never been able to get into a full REM album other than Automatic for the People.
We go with Murmur.
But yeah, I mean, again, I don't think there's much to say. That like I think AJ kind of said everything. It's just really great emotional track, and the music video is great, by the way. The music is fantastic and really represents the song. And it's it's also, I think it's a
any of these
top.
Any of these top 4 songs could have been number 1, I think.
Oh yeah,
that's what we're trying to say. Like any of these 4 songs could have been number 1, we wouldn't have been upset. I don't think.
Well,
yeah, I
except
agree.
1979 is the definitive.
So spoiler alert, God.
Okay, do we want to continue? Do we just want to go to number 3? I don't know if there's much to say.
It's number 3.
I sent Losing My Religion to another world.
Thank you, AJ. Number 3 is Nirvana, Smells Like Teen Spirit. I mean, here's the thing. There's other Nirvana songs on this list that I like more, but like Smells Like Teen Spirit is so iconic that it's like, I mean, it has to be in the top 10.
Actually, the very last Nirvana song on this list was my favorite. Oh, right, of course. The last Nirvana song on this list, like the lowest ranked one, was
was also their last song they ever made.
Was it Heart-Shaped?
Yeah.
Oh no, it wasn't. That one's like in number 80 something is like Heart-Shaped Box, and that's my favorite Nirvana song.
Yeah. You know you're right. It's not my favorite Nirvana song, but it's like my favorite on the list. You know you're right was like it was actually mostly just Kurt Cobain. And then, I don't know, maybe they added their parts later, but, like, it was basically a demo that almost got scrapped, but then
it got
Courtney Love...
out.
Courtney Love
forced
it out there. Yeah. She was like, she demanded it was released as a single, basically, and so they did it, and then apparently it went number 1. Yeah.
No, but yeah, in terms of importance, like, to the alternative music... Smells Like Teen Spirit is the undeniable number 1 most important alt-rock song of all time.
I think I definitely agree. I think that's.
And Nirvana is just the most important band because the thing is that like what they did in 1991 with Nevermind, arguably the most important album since then. I mean, they brought the indie underground scene of the 80s to the main. They took the underground above ground.
Yeah.
They made it cool to like you listen to the album. There's just some tracks like holy shit, this was the biggest album in the world, and Nirvana was the biggest band in the world. This fucking band, like Endless Nameless.
AJ,
that song.
Will and AJ, I want to go back to this because like we were talking about this earlier with Car Seat Headrest, how we were talking about like, is he going to make the next Funeral? When are we gonna find a band out there that's like the next Nirvana that just comes out of nowhere? Essentially, it takes over the mainstream with like this new ass sound that like everyone was like, holy shit, like what?
Are
we ever?
Lord?
I am the.
I think we found her.
I think
Like,
that's more fair of a comparison than David Bowie, because Lorde is huge, and what she's doing is much more minimal and textured than what most other people are doing right now. And that's like, so she's like doing something different, and she's huge, and she's kind of taking this alternative personality to the mainstream. I think it's a much more fair comparison than David Bowie.
Yeah.
I mean,
it still just reminds me of just like, god damn, modern alternative is just like, I mean, here's the thing, Nirvana, they inspired like a lot of bands that like sucked hard though.
Yeah,
that's the thing. There's a lot. Again,
there's no denying that.
Like not even just counting like grunge, like is already like there's some bad grunge bands out there, but you also have post grunge, which is like one of the worst genres ever that no one talks about being bad, but like everyone knows it's
no,
bad.
are you kidding me?
people talk about it being bad.
That's like the bad genre.
Oh yeah, like post grunge, we're talking like Creed and shit. It's like, oh my god,
Yeah.
why do we let this
I
happen?
fuck with Higher. I fuck with that song.
Yeah, Creed's one of the greatest bands of all time. Actually, I won't stand for that.
I want they Nickelback bad.
Oh god.
I can really say about Smells Like Teen Spirit is that
I was actually
Okay, look, can we let Jake speak? Because Jake never gets to speak.
Yeah, let Jake speak. I stopped.
This song I wouldn't even probably be on any sort of music podcast if it weren't for this song or just Nirvana in general. Like they're the band that got me into music, and Smells Like Teen Spirit is the song that got me into them. So yeah, even just in my life, super.
Can we take a moment to acknowledge that Nirvana's MTV Unplugged in New York is the best live album of all time? Can we just do that?
I mean, like we don't even have a discussion like that. It is.
Well, I mean, James Brown's like biggest album is Live at the Apollo, I think, and I hear it's really good. I haven't listened to it yet. I'm sure there are other contenders for this, but personally, the best live album that I have listened to is MTV Unplugged by Nirvana, and it's also my favorite Nirvana album by like a landslide. You really feel Kurt Cobain as like a person in that album, whereas like in the other records he's like, he's an artist, he's conveying his message. This is just like him, probably at one of the most depressed points in his life, like performing a set of his favorite songs. It's like 50% covers, and I think that's cool.
The covers are so good. Like
the covers are so good they become
Lake of Fire is incredible. Where Did You Sleep Last Night as a closer is fucking amazing. That's a great closer.
And
I
love
world. That's better than the
his
David Bowie
banter
version.
too. His banter on the album is like it's funny and clever, but not in like a too overt way. It adds so much to it. It's such an atmosphere record, It's like it creates this atmosphere of like feeling like you're there, and it sounds great too. It's not like this tinny live recording. It sounds like an album almost, but it's just so good. It's such an amazing.
That's the thing about Kurt Cobain too, is that like he just was not meant for to be the biggest band in the world.
Yeah.
He was like his appearance, the way he acted, just everything about him. He was not groomed for this life.
It's definitely part of what killed him.
No, yeah, that's definitely what killed. But that also makes him so fascinating, though. Why people are still like bastardizing him and cashing in on compilations and whatever. Yeah. Because he really was. I mean, it's like his rise to fame and just everything about him was just so iconic and so unheard of.
Mm-hmm.
And we haven't really seen anything like that since. I don't think.
I want to talk about. Matty set me off into a deep thinking spiral when he asked that one question. It's like, when are we going to get a band that kind of comes? And the only response I was able to rack my brain for, and it's going to be controversial, but the only thing I could think of when Matty said, when are we going to get this band that kind of comes out of nowhere and makes this sound that no one else is really making and does this kind of wacky thing, And my answer, the only thing I could come up with is Tame Impala.
Okay, I thought you were gonna say like 21 Pilots, and I was like, oh no, but like I can. Okay, here's the thing with Tame Impala.
I don't get
Tame
it.
Impala has not hit the mainstream yet. That's the only
Yeah,
issue.
Tame Impala isn't big.
They're pretty big.
Tame Impala is big, but they're not successful on the
Tame Impala's
charts.
bigger. Tame Impala's bigger than you think. I mean, Kevin Parker did a song with Mark Ronson, and like people know Tame Impala. Like,
Okay, they're big.
Rihanna
they're
did a
big.
cover of a song. Where
They're big, but they're not like mainstream. Like they're not having songs that are charting on like the Hot 100. They're not like, holy shit, this band is like incredible and everyone loves them. But and also the issue with Tame Impala is that Tame Impala, are they really that original? Like Nirvana was original.
Yeah,
they were really original, and Tame Impala is not original.
Tame Impala gets a lot of that, like, not original. It's just all like tribute to old psych rock shit. The things kind of
they sounds like
John
I think they do it. I think Tame Impala does a really unique like take on psych rock, but to say it's like on the level of like originality that like Nirvana was when they came out, that's bullshit. That's bullshit, and I disagree with your comparison, AJ.
Okay.
The Currents is bad.
And that's not even because I hate Currents. That's just like looking at the objective facts and being like, no, I can't see it. I can't, because
the objective fact is that we'll never, ever, 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 ever get another Nirvana.
Yeah.
So
and I agree with that. And I agree with
we're
that.
the only band I can point at and be like, this you could kind of say is similar.
The only thing I could. The band that comes
Tame
close.
Impala.
I hate to be like, I hate saying this, but like the band.
Don't fucking say it. Don't fucking say it.
Don't fucking Pilots, but like they suck. I hate them, but like essentially, it's like Nirvana, but like if like a label tried to recreate that magic.
I thought you were gonna say Death Grips, and I was like, just don't. Even...
No, God, no, not.
What were you gonna say?
I said 21 Pilots, but like if a label manufactured their success, like if a label was trying to recreate like the success of Nirvana, but it came out as so forced and bad.
While Kid A is
see the issue.
It's not on Death Grips level.
As
All right.
Oh, that's coming. Are we bringing that up now?
The difference between 21 Pilots and Nirvana is that Nirvana was good.
That's why I'm saying the force shit, because they're bad. I don't like them because it's so calculated. Their success to me, it's so calculated.
I think they're a band that doesn't fit anywhere, but they fit everywhere.
In some ways, Nirvana's kind of was too. Like
Sonic Youth and Dinosaur Jr. all kind of
right. He's right.
For them.
No, let me talk.
Husker Du.
Or Nevermind, the label brought in a producer intentionally to really clean up their sound and make it more radio friendly. And like Kurt Cobain hated it. He wanted to call the album Sheep. Like that's how much he fucking hated it. And
Butch Vig, who was the producer, and he did all sorts of stuff that Kurt Cobain really tried to fight against. Like he made him do layered vocal harmonies, and he made him add more guitar tracks and just flesh out the sound. Yeah.
But then he just did it by saying John Lennon did it because he's a big Beatles fan. Have you seen the VH1 classics?
Yeah.
Things like just watching Butch Vig work though, it's like there's never been a person who looks more like he knows what he's talking about than Butch Vig. Like he just fucking. It's just like wow, this guy really knows how to produce music.
Yeah.
You know?
I like Butch Vig, but that was their goal. You know, like and it was somewhat calculated. You know, but. I don't think they expected the amount of success that Nirvana got.
No one could have. Nobody.
Yeah.
It was just like the perfect storm of what?
Yeah.
And I mean, that's why they're so iconic.
And it's just
you can never account for legacy either. Like you can't. Nirvana has a built-in legacy, and you can't really come in and be like, oh well, you know, this album is going to be widely regarded as one of the greatest albums of all time. Like that's what we're going for. You can't really do that.
Hey, Kanye West did it.
Well,
I'm thinking. Okay,
no, actually, no.
Wait.
While Kurt Cobain may be influential, he's no Kanye West.
Okay, God damn it. Okay, I'm thinking about this now. I'm thinking about who is the next Nirvana. I think it's Kendrick Lamar. Like I'm legitimately thinking about it now. I think that makes sense. Let's think about it. Let's think about it.
Back to what I said
earlier. Here's the thing. Everything exciting about rock music has transferred to hip hop. Yeah, everything that used to be exciting about rap. Yeah.
And that's why I'm saying Kendrick, because I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, okay, so Bleach is like his Section 80, you know?
I feel really
and then
confident
Good Kid, Mad City is like
more of a Radiohead figure than a Nirvana figure.
I mean, okay, yeah, but I'm
just Radiohead.
I know, I'm just trying to think of stuff, and I'm like, it makes sense, you know, for me, because Radiohead.
No, Kanye West is Radiohead.
Yeah. The thing is, they kind of like were like out at the same time.
They overlap a little too much.
They overlap too much, where Kendrick doesn't overlap as much. But even then, I feel like with Kendrick, it's like I feel like he's the guy. Like I feel like he's the next Nirvana. Like I'm legitimately thinking about
Kendrick
now.
is definitely the guy now. As he has said, I know I'm chosen. You know, and like I feel like people were acting like that was an egotistical statement, but Kendrick is a very humble dude, and it's like a legitimately true statement. You know, there isn't like. I mean, other than him obviously being amazing, like based off of Section 80, like there isn't a particular reason why Kendrick should have gotten as big as he did, more so than any rapper that was doing like, you know, his kind of social thing. Like, I mean, obviously Good Kid, Mad City is amazing and a classic, but I just mean like, there's something about Kendrick Lamar that people really like. He's quote unquote chosen.
I think he's kind of like that human element, kind of like Kurt Cobain, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And
yeah,
also,
that's interesting.
he speaks for the generation in the same way that Kurt Cobain does. You know, like
I
Nirvana.
Agree, yes.
People really connected with Nirvana. They were like, you know, like they felt that it was like the discontentment. The generation really identified that, and that's happening with Kendrick Lamar right now. You know, like All Right is being used as a protest song, and that's amazing in its own right. But like, you know, like. People are really connecting with Kendrick Lamar and his message and the way he likes to talk about things.
Mm-hmm.
So I get that comparison.
Yeah, like I just again I'm thinking about, like, I just thought about it. I'm like, wow, it makes a lot of sense. And for the Radiohead thing, I think we need a few more albums from Kendrick to kind of figure that one out. But I feel like Kanye West is the more comparable one at the moment.
I think in terms of position, I would agree with you that Kendrick Lamar does hold a similar place that Nirvana held. Not necessarily the same band, but like in terms of musical progression, I think there is so much comparison to be made with Radiohead.
But basically, any band that changes their sound and makes it work.
Can
we just say it's both? Can we say it's a mixture of both?
Can we just say that Kendrick Lamar's good
didn't
music?
we say 20 minutes ago, like, comparisons are stale and forced?
Alex,
I know, but this one's actually fun.
Yeah, Alex is the one who said that now. He's like, well, Kendrick Lamar is radio.
Oh god, AJ, you're lagging.
No, okay. So what I'm saying now is since we kept going down that road, I wanted to justify and point out the actual similarities within those arguments. I do think that it is a stretch to say either of them, but like I mean I don't know. I think
there are arguments to be made that make sense and can fit into that. But I mean, the thing is Kendrick Lamar is like a really unique artist, and I don't want to be like, oh, he's the next Nirvana, because here's the thing: Kendrick Lamar is the next Kendrick Lamar. He's this really unique artist, and also AJ, your mic's kind of like buzzing.
Yeah, you're starting to sound like your profile picture looks.
Yo, I just changed, so probably not.
Okay, I think you're good now.
Yeah, you sound better now.
Okay, I think you're good now. My mom just texted me saying stop yelling. Okay, so
I also changed my profile.
I need to calm down.
Okay, two things. I changed my profile picture to Emperor Palpatine during this call, and then second of all, we've got 2 more songs left, so let's talk about those.
Yeah, we got. Okay, who wants to talk about White Stripes? Seven Nation Army is number 2.
Oh, sure, I can.
You do that because I'm not big into White Stripes.
I'm not anymore, but they were they were really important to me in high school. You know, they have like one of my top 10. They're one of my top 10 most played bands on Last.fm. I think I have like 4,000 plays. Anyway, Seven Nation Army is kind of weird to me. I don't know. Was it their only number 1? Because I feel like
no.
Fell in Love with the Girl.
I think they had like Icky Thump was number 1 too.
Oh yeah,
Icky Thump. Icky Thump. Yeah, it was.
I feel like Fell in Love with a Girl was really like their song. Like Seven Nation Army has become their song, but I feel like back when they were really around, it was their song. You know.
I don't know. Seven Nation Army just like. I think if you play Seven Nation Army, more people know Seven Nation Army.
Here's the thing, though.
Absolutely.
Most people know Seven Nation Army like as it's like an anthem now, pretty much. But most people know "Fell in Love with a Girl" as like the white. Like you ask someone, "What's a White Stripe song?" They're more likely to say like "Fell in Love with a Girl." I feel like.
I think they would say Seven Nation Army now, but I'm saying like when White Stripes were like really around and at the height of their popularity, people would be like, "Oh yeah, man, I love that song."
Yeah,
Fell in Love with a Girl.
Seven Nation Army has become like it's more than their song in the same way that like Let's Dance is like not even David Bowie's song anymore.
Yeah, I get that.
It's a Talking Heads song. The best song Talking Heads never made.
I don't even agree with that. Let's Dance.
That's not a point we need to be. That's fucking irrelevant as hell.
All right.
Right?
So anyway, there's nothing you cannot deny this bass line. You can't deny that bass line.
Absolutely
and it's not even a bass line. It's literally Jack White fucking around in the studio so hard that his guitar sounded like a bass. I just like literally. Something that's interesting about like this song and this album is like the White Stripes were such like a minimalist band in terms of production aesthetic and in terms of just like what they were doing. You know, it was like Meg White playing her shitty drum rhythms that sound great anyway.
Gotta say though, I love Meg White's drumming.
Yeah, I do too. But it is undeniably factually shitty drumming.
Yes.
And then Jack White kind of like jamming out on his guitar and singing with his shrill voice, and like that's all they were for like their entire career up until that point. And then he starts like recording with good equipment on this album, even though he had access to it. Like he starts recording with in a very clear way, and he starts layering things and starts fucking around with his production, like, you know, on this song where he turned his guitar into a bass, and I guess I wonder what caused that change.
I love the fact that his whole, or not his whole discography, but so much of it was recorded on that shitty airline guitar he got at a garage sale, and he still plays it live.
Wait,
the nice thing is that
wow.
I mean, I don't know if he still does, but he definitely has before, like, while they were popular.
I imagine he probably still uses it for, like, studio sessions occasionally. Like, I feel like he has
I think it was kind of a White Stripes thing. I don't know if he does it with his solo stuff.
Have any of y'all seen Mic It Loud?
Yeah.
Have y'all seen that? Yeah, okay, I'll talk. Have y'all seen the documentary This Mic It Loud?
It's really good. Is all.
Yeah, it's with him and it's with Jimmy Page, the Edge of U2, and Jack White. It just goes through his musical philosophy, his guitar playing philosophy, and basically, like, kind of just to sum it up, at the very beginning of the movie, he's making like a guitar out of just like a plank of wood, and, like some wire and some screws and like a can.
Yeah,
and he like makes it into like a legit
and they just
instrument.
Slides the can up and down the wire and like makes
frequencies.
Yeah,
I think is that like that's just like his aesthetic, and like he's talking about his favorite song of all time and how it's just I don't even remember what it is. It's just some like really old blues song. And some guy just singing a cappella, just with him clapping off beat. Jack White's talking about like music is what you make. Like, yeah, like this song is objectively like he's clapping off beat. It's just a cappella, but like the passion, just like what it is. Like just he has that minimal aesthetic down, and I think that's just what it is. Like that's in his heart. That's just what he is.
Yeah.
Like he makes the most out of what he has, and in his case, he can make a lot.
Back to the Meg White thing, I don't think a really technically proficient drummer would lend itself well to the White Stripes music.
The White Stripes would not have been the band they were, and they would not have been as great of a band if Meg White was not in it.
The thing I love about her specifically, though, is the way she hits the cymbals. Her cymbal sound is maybe one of my favorites in all of music.
Jack White has actually even said that he never would have started playing the guitar the way he did if it wasn't to accommodate for Meg's shitty drumming. And shitty drumming is my words. He said, you know, he
style.
Likes, yeah, her style.
I mean, you can't expect every drummer to be like Zach Hill and just be like.
Well, the thing is that
she
literally learned like to start a like they were dating and there's like, hey, let's start a band. So she learned how to play drums.
Yeah, she just,
like Jack taught her how to play drums, basically.
Yeah,
because he plays everything now.
And then they got a divorce, and then they kept making albums, and then they got huge.
But he kept her last name.
It's
It sounded cool, man. I mean,
that's my favorite part of the whole thing. But yeah, Jack White
took her
sounds
last
a lot
name.
cooler.
He kept it.
Jack White is one of our few modern day eccentrics in rock and roll music.
He's a fucking asshole too. Like he's like not.
Yeah.
He fucking sucks as a person too.
Obviously.
But he's like the garage rock musician.
I just googled it. His original last name is Gillis. The Gillis Stripes does not have as good of a ring as the White Stripes.
Okay, I do want to ask: should this have been number 2, or should like something gone above this? Because like considering how
Maybe
much
something else, but
Yeah.
considering how much we talked about Nirvana, I feel like that should have been higher.
Yeah, I was gonna say even like
well,
the last.
I don't know.
We kinda said that,
it
like, we said
depends-
that
The
the
thing is,
top-
like, every sporting event
So-
you go to, you hear Seven Nation Army. Like,
Okay.
this is a big fucking song.
Yeah.
And the White Stripes
Every-
are a big fucking band.
Every band that starts up in some kid's garage is gonna jam to "Smells Like Teen Spirit" at some point. Like that's the same kind of comparison you can make there.
Yeah.
But then we can
I
also make,
feel like Seven Nation Army is kind of that song too, you know, like
when you learn how to
I
play
don't know.
bass, it's a pretty simple riff, too.
yeah.
So, I mean, like, it's like,
guess-
it's what you play. Like,
I
everyone
guess
knows
the thing
that.
is, there are two different types of lists. One that focuses on influence and maybe tries to create some sort of objective list, quote unquote. And then another that just focused on tastes and like, you know, publications will have their own taste, and I think that's what this list is more about, and I appreciate that, you know? So I wouldn't necessarily have them move up Smells Like Teen Spirit, especially because the #1 song is the best song of all time, TVH.
Yeah, let's go to that right now, I think.
Yeah, you guys can jerk off about this one.
The
'cause
quote-unquote
Okay.
greatest song of all time.
1979 by the Smashing Pumpkins. And I was so thrilled to see this at #1 because A, I didn't expect it at all. But B, it's legitimately one of my like top 10 songs of all time, and it's like my favorite song that's regularly on the radio. And I love it so much. It's got the best textures, and it's got the best heart, the best emotion, even though it came from Billy Corgan. Like how did that happen?
Billy
And, like,
Corgan's he's one of my top 5 favorite guitarists, and just like a goat in general. Like,
Yeah, he's an amazing guitarist.
yeah,
James Iha too. Like
yeah. Shout out for the reunion
yeah.
this past weekend.
Like there's just the song is just magical. It's so good at creating
It's
the
nostalgia.
universe it exists in. Like the nostalgia. It's so good at that. And like
Anytime you hear a
it's
song, you
just-
just go, ah, like it's,
it's
like, oh
it's
yeah,
such
it's like I
a
miss
beautiful
that.
feeling. Yeah, like it's
You don't
a
even know what
beautiful
you missed, but you
feeling.
missed
It's like,
that.
and it's so pleasant and nice without like not feeling like it has substance, you know? Like it's got it's so
It doesn't
well
make you think too
textured
hard.
and
You don't have to try to
beautiful.
like this song. You just
Yeah.
do.
I agree that I think it's I didn't even like I must have heard this song in commercials and whatnot because like I listen to this song
What
and I'm
the-
like
Wait. Going back to what Will said, it's like it's instantaneous, but it's like, you know, it's got stuff going on, you know, it's interesting.
This was the
I-
last song they recorded for Melancholy Infinite Sadness because
Yeah.
Billy Corgan said it had to be on the album, and
I really like
right.
the yaz in the background. That's my favorite part of the song.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've never heard those.
they're there. Are you kidding
I
me?
know what I mean.
The like weird yeah in between like the fucking riff.
I think
Yeah.
that's the guitar, AJ.
No.
I'll listen to the song as soon as
No.
we're done. Like I'll pay attention. Like what,
Do you mean,
exactly which
like-
point is the yeah?
I'll find it.
weird-
I'll go listen to the song
weird,
right
like, brown sound. Do you mean
No.
that?
now. No.
Okay.
okay,
No, but yeah, Melancholy
Well, we
Infinite
don't know what you're
Sadness.
talking about.
Melancholy Infinite Sadness is just like the ultimate teenage feel. And Simon Stream, just Smashing Pumpkins in general, just the ultimate teenage feelings band.
That's
And this
a
is the
goat
ultimate-
rock album too.
And this, yes, no, Siamese Dream is my #1 in terms of just like the guitar playing on it. Siamese Dream is my #1 album.
Yeah.
And this, I mean,
you know
like,
how I
that's
feel about Melancholy.
yeah.
um,
I'm saying that this is like the Melancholy is like the #1 teenage emotions album,
Yeah.
and this is the #1 teenage emotions song on this
Like-
#1 teenage emotions album.
One thing I love about this record, or I don't know. Let's backtrack on that. I want to say something else first. Something that I think is funny about this record is Billy Corgan, when they started the session, they were like, all right, we're going to treat this like our last album, and it's got to be our best. You know, like, he went in, he was like, we're going to make a GOAT album, and they did. And I'm proud of them.
But it kind of ruined the band. Like they just kind of like wore themselves out.
It ended the
They
band.
wrote like 36, like 40 songs for this album. Like they just like ran the wells dry, and just like the tensions rose high, and like one of their crew members died like on one of the very first shows. Like somehow.
Yeah, it
I
absolutely
remember that.
ended the band. It doomed.
I mean, they did make another album, and no, the band still exists. But like the band as we as
They
the
made
best.
a bunch more albums, but not.
Yeah, the thing is, but
as the band
one
is
more,
new,
one
knew
more
it.
as the band we knew it. But still, the
Yeah.
point is that like this was the beginning of the end of Smashing Pumpkins. Like, they could have been the
Yeah.
greatest band of all time. I think. I'm not. I
Yeah.
don't know, maybe.
This is
I mean,
my
like-
favorite like traditional rock album of all time. I think.
I mean, they're definitely hot take from start to finish. They're the best band of the '90s, in my opinion.
They could have been so much better. They could have been one of the best rock bands of the '90s and possibly of like the last like maybe like the best rock. I'm trying to
I
figure
don't
out
know.
what was
The point is
trying to
that they could have been even better than they were. I'm saying like they could.
Yeah.
They
But,
couldn't have
like,
been like.
I don't know.
But
I
from what I hear, like it just seems like that Billy Corgan was a huge egotistical asshole. The
Yes.
drummer was a drug addict. The bassist and the guitarist didn't really add that much. and whatnot.
No.
Well, yeah. Billy did
James-
record a lot.
James
he built.
was important to that band, and he's part of the reason why it sounds nothing like it does now. Like
Well,
Billy
yes,
Corgan
you
was
know,
arguably the
Billy
principal
Corgan recorded
songwriter,
most
but,
of
like,
Siamese Dream on his own.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like Billy Corgan was definitely the principal songwriter, but like I don't know, James Iha was important.
Mhm.
Yeah, Darcy. I mean,
He
they're
wrote.
definitely.
He added things. You know, he kind of like
Oh.
played the Ed O'Brien role. You know, like Ed O'Brien doesn't play a direct role within the context of Radiohead in terms of like songwriting most of the time, but he adds all the like, you know, he adds texture and he adds things that are really important to the songs being as great as they are.
James E. Hall wrote the last songs on both discs of Melancholy, "Take Me Down" and "Farewell
Yeah.
and Good Night."
And they're both great.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, James E. Hall, he definitely did not subtract from the band, even though it was. I mean, basically now Smashing Pumpkins is a solo project by Billy Corgan.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, I think that they're underrated to an extent. Like their current material, it's not that bad, but definitely, I think the band.
I honestly haven't listened to any of it.
I listened to Monuments from Elegy like last week, and I had a good time. I enjoyed
Melancholy
my
is all I
experience.
need. I do.
I
listen
mean, it
to
really is. In 2 hours and
Simon's
1 minute
Dream's
and
great.
28 songs. I mean,
Yeah, really. It's every song is perfect. There is not okay, you might disagree with that, but there is not a single song I would have taken off that album. Not one.
So I mean, I disagree with that to an extent, just because it's so fucking long. But yeah,
Is there anything else? Okay, is there anything else
Like-
for the entire list? Or AJ, do you want to say something, or Jake? I'm not sure.
I like 1979 a lot. It's a good
Yeah.
song. I don't really have any qualms. I don't really have any
concur.
qualms with it being number one on this list. This is a good
Yeah.
list. Okay, no wait, we should talk about the list. The list had problems. I think Weezer got the shaft on this list, but
well, let's get their number one songs didn't come till Make Believe.
yeah, but
They didn't have any
still.
Pinkerton or Blue Album didn't have any. I was surprised Blue Album didn't have any number ones.
Yeah,
They didn't.
yeah.
'Cause like a Sweater Song, Buddy
Song's
Holly.
huge. Buddy
Say It
Holly.
Ain't
Say it ain't
So.
so.
Say it
Yeah,
ain't so.
yeah, those aren't
huge.
number one songs, but
I was
I mean-
yeah. My biggest takeaway from this list was like number one, this list's all right, and then number two, where the fuck's Weezer? That was me and this list.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely. I mean, again, they put a lot of the stuff in the early 2000s and like the bottom tier list, and I completely understand why. But like, I can't hate it. I can't hate that stuff because I'm nostalgic for it. Like, I can't hate
Well,
it.
one
guys
song
have
that
a-
got the huge shaft was "Hanging by a Moment" by Lighthouse.
I was
That's
about
a
to
fucking-
ask if you guys have picks of particular songs that were
That's a
highlight
goat
for you.
ass song. That's at least top 50.
I'm
And
try-
they
I'm
gave
trying
the
to think
shaft
of
like
what-
279.
I
Like,
feel,
what's
I
your
was fucking
favorite song in
pissed.
this list? Personally, that's not
Oh,
in like
shit.
the top 50.
Is there a place where I can get through the list without like crashing my fucking browser?
No. That is
Probably
one thing to
not.
mention is that this is a huge fucking list, and it
Consequence
takes a
of
long
Consequence
time
of
to
Sound
read.
has an awful website.
Wait, did you?
Holy-
Okay, wait, hold on, AJ. Did you try to click view all or like view like one at a time?
I
Like, just-
first tried to click view all
Oh, don't
on my
do that.
computer
Don't-
crashed. Yeah,
don't
and
do
then
that. Don't do that.
then I went page by page.
Don't do that. I didn't do that at all. I just went through like page by page, and that was like.
I like
much easier.
didn't realize that it was gonna be like I don't know why I didn't, but I was like,
thing is,
oh,
they
I can
should've-
just load.
For the few,
I didn't realize
they should
that-
have taken out the YouTube links. If they took out the YouTube
They
links,
should
it would be fine.
yeah,
But
yeah.
they didn't because they're dumb. Sorry, Alex.
I think, personally, my favorite
You are
one-
idiot.
Wait, what?
You are
COS
an
Alex, you are
idiot.
idiot.
We're shitting on concerts.
Oh, I thought you were talking about me.
No.
I mean, you are
um,
too, but that's not the subject of this.
Well,
What are we gonna talk about, Alex?
it's arguable. That's like your opinion, you know.
It's like
no,
your opinion.
I've got a song. I've got a song I can point to. Number 56, "Learn to Fly" by the Foo Fighters, could have been number 1. Maybe should have been number 1. Who knows?
Okay, I will say this.
See, that's one thing. The
Right.
top 20 we have here, Foo Fighters had All My Life.
Okay,
That was their top.
personally,
I don't like that song at
I
all.
would have seen "Cigarette Daydreams" go higher, because
Did
that's
ya?
a really great song.
Good track.
And
Song, yeah.
and also, can I say
And
Foo
and
Fighters
"Can't
or-
Stop" by Red Hot Chili Peppers also should have been higher because it's like amazing and the greatest.
No, Danny California didn't make the top 300, and I was fucking livid.
I'm
Not
fine
bad.
with that because I gotta say something. Fuck the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Hey, hold on, AJ,
No.
can I say something? Can I say something too? Fuck the Foo Fighters. Learn to Fly. I agree that should have been higher. I agree because that's a good song. It should have been above.
"Learn to Fly" should have been higher just because it's the greatest music video of all time.
Yeah, shouts out to Tenacious D.
I like the Pretender. I like the Pretender, and I like Learn to Fly, but like Foo Fighters just does nothing for me. I think they're mediocre as all. They're the definition of a mediocre rock band to me. There's nothing about them that does like that stands.
But they
out
do
to
have
me.
teeth. They have teeth.
They have teeth, but it's just like Dave Grohl is just.
Yeah.
I think I don't like him as a singer.
He's an HGTV host trapped inside the body of a rock star.
I legitimately love their first 2 albums. I don't know if I love them. I legitimately really enjoy their first 2 albums.
I mean,
And
I
then
All My
I've
Life.
just listened to singles, and I just don't like. There's at least like 80% of the singles I've listened to by Foo Fighters. They do nothing for me.
Really,
All My
single,
Life
I like
is
all the
probably-
singles almost. It's,
Yeah,
it's the
really
albums.
What
that
was the
actually-
one? Okay, what was the one that was in the top 20? Hold on, we have it in here in the schedule.
All My
All
Life.
My
All
Life.
My Life.
I didn't like.
Yeah,
that.
that's a good song.
It should have
Yeah.
been again.
Yeah,
All
no,
My
Impression
Life is a
Music.
fucking great song.
Maddie, you're in the wrong side of history.
I would have
Yeah.
put Learn to Fly or
I-
the Pretender in there.
Oh, it should have
instead.
been. I think it should have been "Learn to Fly" or the Pretender.
I'm
yeah.
I'm
I like
less
it.
extreme
Was-
about Foo Fighters than Matty is, but I kind of agree. Like I'm not really a big fan, and I do think I don't know. I don't really have criticisms for Dave Grohl. It's hard to like criticize Dave Grohl because he's so
Here's Dave Grohl. Dave
He's
Grohl.
such
He was
a-
in Nirvana. We
Dave Grohl
like
is a
Nirvana.
talented motherfucker.
he's like
Dave Grohl is a
he's
talented
like
motherfucker. Like I will say
music's
that.
like kind of cool dad, but also kind of lame dad. You know?
He,
He could
also-
he's the modern
he
rock
could just be as
ambassador,
easily-
essentially.
He could be a Good Morning America Hank
Oh.
just as easily.
"Semi
as he
Charmed
could
Kind of
be-
Life" is way too low. Or
Oh
way-
no, that's a fucking
I
awesome
disagree.
song.
that could have been. That
No.
should have been top 10.
I need something
Hey,
else
AJ,
to get me
AJ.
through this.
You know,
You know what? Yeah. Okay. You know what?
AJ.
Legitimately, really should have been higher though. Like "The Hand That Feeds." Are you really gonna put 9 Inch Nails that low?
Yeah.
I mean, it was still really high on the list. You know, like it was top 100, but that should have been top 20. That
It-
should have been top
You
20.
know, it should have been number 1. I Miss You by Blink-182.
1979 should have been number one.
Yes. Dude,
I'm
Blink
so sorry.
182 did get shafted on this list.
Blink-182
honestly.
got shafted on this list. Like
Oh no, I think they were ranked just fine on the list.
pop punk
Yeah,
got-
I agree. I
They were,
kept
they were
thinking.
ranked in like the top like 100. That's fine. They should.
Yeah,
be in there.
they
I
did
just-
really well on this list.
Dude.
I thought
They are
they
the top
five.
1 and 2 in my heart.
Oh god. Okay, we need to wrap up this podcast. We're going on way too long. Okay, so
This is our longest podcast in like a hot minute,
oh yeah, definitely.
unless
okay.
unless
It's
you
also our
count the
best
3
podcast.
pods.
Okay, so let's. Okay,
Maybe.
so let's wrap things up real quick. I think we all can agree that like again, the thing is, when you have a list of 336 songs, you're not going to agree with this list at all. There's no one. I can't find anyone who'd be like, oh, I agree entirely with this list.
This
will-
is exactly how I would rank these songs.
All 336 of them to
Yeah,
the T.
all 336 to the letter.
Yeah. But I think the one thing
I don't like
the one thing
I
that
don't like Hanging on a Moment that much by Lifehouse. No one's gonna say that.
the one
I've
thing
never
I,
That's
heard
a
that
great song.
okay. Can I? The one thing I noticed from this list is that like the late 80s and the early 90s, like we're talking like 91, 92. Besides maybe like REM, like has been completely wiped from history. Like I don't hear any of those songs nowadays. That's crazy to me. Like, that
Yeah.
we just
No,
wiped it.
they have a lot of singles though, like Into the World as We Know It. We have Losing My Religion. You have The One I Love. You have Shiny Happy People. I mean, the list goes on.
No, I'm not saying that. No, I'm saying REM is like one of the bands from like the early '90s that isn't forgotten. But like, I'm looking.
Well, the thing is that
I'm talking about
REM
from,
is
like,
an
the
indie
list.
rock band.
Yeah, but like
The thing is that indie rock, they get underrated on Indieheads hard.
I need to listen.
By
to
me
them
included.
now.
I don't listen to them
Wait,
as much. That
who?
shit.
REM.
Oh, REM. Yeah.
Indieheads and myself included, like sleeps on REM.
Mhm.
But the thing is that for
guys
people,
too.
that were around then, like they're a special band. That means a lot.
You know what I was kind of surprised to not see on this list?
What?
Jane Says by Jane's Addiction. I thought that was a bigger single. It's also a great song.
What
They
Yeah,
about,
had
I
a
remember-
couple spots
in
on
the-
this list.
Yeah,
In-
they
in
did,
chat, you
but
were
they
going
were
on about
not the
Jane's
songs
Addiction.
that I expected.
Wait, what song was it?
The song I was talking about?
Yeah, what was the song you're talking about?
Jane Says.
Oh, okay, never mind. Yeah.
I guess in Jane's Addiction.
But yeah, I think overall this list was like, I mean, I think it was pretty representative of like the best stuff. I mean, it generally was like the most of the stuff that was at the top. I'm like, yeah, these are good songs. There wasn't that many songs where I was like, man, these songs are terrible. I mean, if we want to go more in the top 20, I can definitely say there's some stuff in there that I'm like, really? No.
There were songs that were below the top 100 that I really feel strongly that should have been in the top
Okay,
100.
can I say
No,
this?
know what the worst song to make the top 50 was though? Madness by Muse. That was number
Yes.
fucking
Oh,
30.
God.
That has
Number
that has
30.
no business. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
it has no business above even like fucking 200.
Oh,
It's
barf.
the worst Muse song.
It's higher. It's higher than "Learn to Fly." It's higher than "Learn to Fly"
What
by the
the
Foo
fuck?
Fighters.
Fuck you, Alex.
Okay, I don't.
It's higher than Hanging on a Moment
Not
by
you, Alex.
Lighthouse.
I'm talking about COS Alex. Go fuck yourself.
He didn't
Fuck you,
even have
COS,
that
Alex.
big of a role in this list. He's not.
I don't think
mentioned
he wasn't even credited.
Probably.
Yeah.
I don't give a. I don't give a.
It's your blog. It's your problem.
It's
Fuck
again.
you.
He's
Oh,
COS
speaking of
Alex.
it
What
being
happened?
your blog,
Juicy gossip. Juicy gossip.
Oh no.
Consequence of Sound is a WordPress blog.
Oh yeah. WordPress
Isn't
is a
that-
good site. WordPress is a good site.
Yeah.
It's used by a lot of people.
It blows me away though. They're just like, I just always assumed they self-hosted like Pitchfork or something. Like, it blows me away that this is a blog that is hosted through WordPress. You know.
I mean, yeah.
Like, I don't know, I guess in a way, part of it is, like, I don't see it as a blog, you know? I see it as a publication, you know? It's like, it's a news site, but it's a blog.
The thing that kind of unprofessional about Consequence of Sound is that they always like give their opinions when they're reporting the news.
Yeah.
like they'll say something like this, like they'll say like this great or like this shitty
Because
song.
it's a blog.
It's like this shitty new single from Panic at the Disco or something like that. It's like you're not supposed to give your opinions when you're giving the news.
Yeah. Okay. We gotta wrap this shit up, guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We gotta.
Okay. So
okay.
good list, but still fuck Consequence of Sound for crashing all our
It
computers.
was...
It didn't
It
crash
was
my
a
computer.
big
My computer was
podcast.
fine.
It was...
Well,
it was
fuck
a
you,
big
Matty.
topic to tackle, and an important one.
Okay. So recap.
okay,
You
do
the
do
real
you
MVP.
agree with me now that tackling the top 20 on a podcast was too big?
Oh yeah.
yeah.
You realize
Maybe
now how long we took
honorable
was, like,
mentions go to Arctic Monkeys, Phoenix, Coldplay, Green Day, The Cure, Foo Fighters, Gorillaz, The Killers, Modest Mouse,
Okay, hold on.
and Depeche Mode.
Can I talk about? Is seriously When We're Young? Is that the only song that they have that was in the alternative, like, number one in the alternative charts?
I think there was one other song they had on there. I
Like,
think Mr.
When we were young,
No,
is
it,
Goat,
no.
though.
If it
That's
was Mr.
a good
Brightside, it would have
fucking
been.
song.
If it was Mr. Brightside, it would have been like way higher because Mr. Brightside's a great fucking single, and I did not see that on there. And I was like, what the fuck?
See, the issue with your logic there is that it's not a good song.
Oh, fuck you. Okay, we need to wrap this up. Okay, we're gonna wrap this up. Okay, recap of some of the podcast news that we talked about earlier and some other extra stuff I forgot. Let's see. How to Survive in the Music Industry is our new miniseries. It's going to be sort of replacing FYC for the time being until I get done making this new miniseries, and then we'll get back to FYC. Next week's guest is going to be Will Toledo of Car Seat Headrest. And what was some other news I wanted to talk about? I think we're seriously going to start expanding the podcast channel a little bit on YouTube. We're going to try to have some more solo content up. I think vinyl collections is something we talked about that I'm probably going to do soon. If I have time to do it this weekend,
I'm gonna
do it.
record a sad white boy cover of "Flesh Without Blood" by Grimes.
Please do so.
Sad boy acoustic guitar.
Oh,
Actually,
God.
please do. But yeah, is
I
there
can
anything-
provide us with
you know
a
what you
Wonderwall
should
cover.
cover? You should cover a hip hop song that you neither understand the emotional complexity of or like particularly care about.
Acoustic cover of
on
All Right by
acoustic
Kendrick Lamar.
guitar. Yeah, exactly. You should do it.
Okay, also, okay.
I mean,
okay. Okay, and also bumps. Okay, remember to subscribe to us on YouTube, like this video, subscribe to us on iTunes,
smash that like if you like.
smash that
Oh my
smash
God.
that motherfucking like button. Also, smash the motherfucking like button on our Facebook page at facebook.com/IndieheadsPodcast. Follow us on Twitter at IndieheadsPod, and follow us on Symbol at IndieheadsPodcast, where Will is currently doing his takeover week, and I think I'm after you, Will.
I'm next.
Oh, you're next. Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
And then, so Will's doing this week. He's doing his right now. Did you post your song today, Will?
Yes, it's only gotten 5 likes because it's the rare indie gem.
Okay, I'll post it to the Facebook page after we get done recording this. So yeah, I think it's. Does anyone have any closing Wait, AJ, do we want to announce that we're again something about DOA X3?
I don't think AJ's here anymore.
Wait, AJ.
Yeah,
is
AJ
he-
dropped out.
Oh, well,
Rip,
Rip.
He
never
dead.
mind. Never mind
rip
then.
in peace.
Whoops.
Rip AJ.
Well, never mind then. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed this week's podcast, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.